Over time, you're right, athletes do get bigger, better, stronger, and through trial and error, coaches figure out what works and what doesn't work. The question, however, is not the best team, it's the greatest team. What's the difference? Let's take the one sport that is measured completely objectively, that's track and field. So in the 100-meter dash, how many of the top 10 sprinters in the world would Jesse Owens beat today? The answer is 0. They would dust him, every single one. They're all better than him. That's not really what we mean. We mean who's greater. How did they fare against their own contemporaries? Because you could argue based on the equipment they used and the technology at the time and the training methods, if you put Jesse Owens today, you can't do that. So you have to see how they fared against their contemporaries.
Welcome to GOAT James Kingdom. Welcome. I am Ajani the Exposer, and y'all have now been exposed by the Exposer. I appreciate it. And enjoy. I am called Ajani the Exposer. You guys are being exposed today.
Your opinion, I guess.
Move on from it. It was the 90s. That's it, bro. Move on from that. You don't know history. You don't know basketball. You just told me I'm stupid. But look how stupid you look because you don't know basketball. You don't know history. You don't know jamming. You don't know schematics. You don't know coaching. You don't know scouting. You don't know drafting. You don't know nothing but that Michael Jordan is great because the media said you that, so told you to say that. I know that is the point, and you are officially being exposed by the Exposer, and you're going to sit there like a man and take this just like Buddy did 2 weeks ago.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Hey, get your numbers up. I had to get my numbers up.
Peace and blessings, y'all. Welcome to another Friday night exposure with the Exposer. I'm your host, Ajani the Exposer. We are live and direct straight off of the GOAT James Kingdom channel. Also multi-streaming right off of the FYF Sports Debate channel. So shout out to everybody over there. Shout out to everybody that's in the comments because we're also going live on all of our platforms. You guys know what we do best here. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Become a member of the channel. We're going live on IG, Twitch, Discord. We're all over the place. We are the best place to talk the game of basketball. And we're going to have another great show for y'all as I will be giving y'all my greatest championship team by season. Just the season. We just going to go by the championship team just for a season. I done did dynasties. I done did all kind of super team type of rankings and had some fun with it. But I'm going to have some fun tonight by showing y'all the top 10 greatest teams to ever play the game of basketball in the NBA. So you guys go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, become a member of the channel. We are going live straight off of the FYF and GJK channels on YouTube. You guys know what we do best here, man. We are here to have some fun. We're going to have a great conversation. So y'all make sure to hit that like button again. Share the content. The membership for all of this stuff that we do here is what you're going to be supporting if you join the membership either in FYF or in GJK, or if you go ahead and join both channels. It's all love and respect. But again, thank you for joining me as we're going to have another great show. It's another great Friday night. Why not be here with me as we discuss the game of basketball? So again, tonight's show is about my ranking of the greatest teams of all time. Championship teams now. We're talking about teams that won championships. We're going to rank the greatest championship seasons of all times. Now, normally, when we ask who's the greatest team of all time, people always bring up the 1996 Chicago Bulls. And rightly so, because we all know the Chicago Bulls of 1996 won 72 games. They won the NBA championship. They were a very dominant team. They were the actual staple and the symbol of the 90s. But why is the 1996 Bulls considered the greatest team of all time? Now, I also put in the comments, what are the determining factors that makes a team great? So if you get a chance to hit our poll in the GOAT James Kingdom chat line, you can see in the chat line we have a poll here. Is it a team's record? Right? Because that's what people would say why the 96 Bulls, not only did they win the championship, but they have the 72-10 record, right? Or is it the fact that you have a league MVP, right? Because not too many teams who win championships actually have the league MVP in NBA history, right? That's kind of a rare thing. Also, is it a star-studded lineup? Is it a lineup full of all-stars or all defensive players or all NBA players? Or is it a team's dominance over how they just beat everybody in their conference or in their division? Are these the things that are being used? What would you measure to say is the determining factor for what makes a team great? Well, I decided to put some stuff together. I see y'all in the comments, man. Shout out to y'all. I see y'all already making some claims here. What up to you, Travis? I see you there. What's good? Appreciate you. Thank you for joining me. Again, Aaron, thank you for joining me. GOAT James Kingdom members in the building. I see all you guys. Thank you again. We're going to have a great show. I'm going to put the link up very shortly. I don't even have that much to display for y'all today. I just got my teams. I just got the teams. No footages. No nothing. But we're going to have fun. We're going to have fun. I see y'all putting y'all, determining factors here. All right, we got dominance here by Twain Gant. That's how he wants to do it. Shout out to you, New World. Peace to you. Shout out to you, Twin Man. Thank you for joining me again. We're doing big things here, bro. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for being a part of the Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer. So the idea here, right? Let's first off, let's do this, right? We for how we do things in GOAT James Kingdom, we don't just sit here and just state the things that we want to state when we talk the game of basketball. We actually have a legitimate, logical explanation to why we say the things that we say. And any ranking list that I do will have a point system of some sort and a criteria so you can understand how we're measuring all of these teams, right? So if you guys didn't know, in NBA history, there's only been 21 teams that have won 65 games or more in an NBA season. 21 teams, y'all. Out of 70 plus NBA seasons played, only 21 teams in NBA history have ever reached 65 plus wins for a season. The first team to ever do it was the 1967 76er team. They won 68 games that year. It was only 81 games played. But this was the barometer that I wanted to use to help determine who's the greatest team. Because if you're telling me 21 teams only won 65 games, that's obviously a rare feat. We only know only 2 teams ever won 70 games, right? But here's the kicker with this. Out of all the teams that won 65 games or more, the 21 teams, 15 of them are NBA champions. So 75% of the teams that win 65 games or more have a likely odd of winning the NBA championship. Now, what's the determining factor to 65? Why not 64? Why not 63? Because if we go to 64 win teams, that 75% odds, which is 3 out of 4 teams winning a championships, drop down to about a third, to about 33%. So that one game winning 64 to 65 is obviously a big difference, right? So you have 21 teams that won 65 games plus in a season. Only 6 of those teams couldn't win an NBA championship. But then if you take the 64 win teams, which are a bunch of teams, I think it was like over 30 teams I counted in my research. Like I said, only a third of them were champions. So that drops down drastically when you go from being a 65 win team to a 64 win team. So today's criteria, since a team record matters the most, you had to have won 65 games for you to be a part of this top 10 list. So that means out of the 21 teams, only 10 of them could make the top 10 here, right? But let's look at the different teams, all right? So let's take a chance to look at the team. As I told you before, we have the 67 76ers, who won 68 games in 1967. That was the NBA record at the time. And then if we go ahead and scroll down, and we look at the 80s, the 70s, and the 90s. You can see here in the 70s, there were 3 teams that were able to actually get 65 games or more. In the 80s, there were 3 teams that were able to win 65 games or more. And in the 90s, there was only 1 team that was able to win 65 games or more. And that was all the Chicago Bulls. So the Chicago Bulls did it 3 times in the 90s, y'all. And then if we scroll down right here and we go to the 2000s and the 2010s, because nobody in the 2020s have won 65 games, you can see that more teams in the 2000s have reached 65 games plus, and these are all the teams. But if you look at the teams who actually won a championship, and if we scroll back a little bit, right, we know the 67 Sixers won a championship, but the 73 Celtics didn't win a championship. They won 68 games and did not win the NBA championship. So again, we are only going to rank teams that actually won championships. So we're not going to count the 73 Celtics in our ranking. All these other teams from the 70s and the 80s actually were good. So we don't have to remove any other team here from the 80s and the 90s because all of them won championships. But if we go to the 2000s, we can see the 2007 Mavs, who won 67 games, didn't win an NBA championships. They're disqualified. The 2009 Cavaliers, who won 66 games, they're disqualified because they didn't win a championship. The 2016 Warriors, even though they won 73 games, are going to be disqualified from today's ranking because they didn't win an NBA championship. The 2016 Spurs, who won 67 games, who had lost to the actual Warriors that same playoffs, will not be included in this ranking. And then we have the 2018 Rockets, who won 65 games, and they will be excluded. So those are the 6 teams that will be excluded from my top 10 list. So that's what we're going to be doing here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to have some fun with this ranking, because y'all know I like to rank players by their stats, accolades, and achievements. So it shouldn't really change with the teams. Now, the teams are a little bit different. So for this situation, what I did was I ranked the teams by the MVP that they had. I ranked them if they had the number 1 defense or the number 1 offense. I ranked them by how many all-league players they had, whether it was all NBA or all defensive team. I ranked them if they had a defensive player of the year. I ranked them if they had if they had an all-star, or how many players were considered all-stars for that year. And I also counted any players that won statistical titles like scoring title, rebounding title, steals title, things of that nature. So these are all the things that I helped to determine which teams were better out of these 15 teams. And then on top of that, what I did was I took their season net rating and added that, and I determined how they would be from that ranking right there. So that's my ranking system. So there is a point system to determine all of these teams. So we're going to sit here and rank the 15 NBA teams that won 65 titles or more. 65 games or more in an NBA season and won an NBA title. That is the ranking for my top 10 list. So if y'all are ready to do this, give me 2 thumbs up in the comments. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Become a member of both channels, because we are going live on both FYF and the GOAT James Kingdom channel. We're also available on Facebook, IG, TikTok, Twitter, Discord, Twitch. We're all over the place. And if you're following us through FYF, you know you can find us on Amazon Prime. You can find us on other platforms as well, because we are doing big things. This is what we do best. We are trying to bring real content to basketball fans. No more of this nonsense where people just talk just to talk and have outlandish takes. We don't do that here in GOAT James Kingdom. We actually talk the game of basketball. So we're about to have some fun here, and I'm going to give y'all my top 10 greatest championship team seasons of all time, based off of the teams that won 65 games or more and an NBA title in NBA history. That's what we're about to do. Shout out to you. Appreciate you. Thank you, Juan boy. We're gonna have some fun. So we listen, ladies and gentlemen. What I do here in GOAT James Kingdom is all for fun. I'm as objective as they get. You said we're not running live on FYF right now? We should be running live on FYF right now. We should be running live on FYF right now. Y'all let me know if we're running live on FYF. It must be a mistake or issue on that part. But let me go ahead and get this going, because this is what we are about to do. We're about to go ahead and show y'all my original team, my first team, my number 10 team. So we're going to have some fun. But before we do that, also I want y'all to know, and I want everybody to feel comfortable to understand, that GOAT James Kingdom has reached 100,000 members in GOAT James Kingdom Facebook group. We have officially reached 100,000 members there, and I want to thank everybody who has been a part of our platform for the last 2 years and a half or so where we're doing things. You say we're not live on FYF. That's weird. I am using FYF's platform as we speak. We should be going live. But either way, you guys know what we're doing. We're right here on GOAT James Kingdom. We have reached, yes, thank you so much. We appreciate that. Thank you. 100,000 members. Shout out to everybody on our Facebook for showing love and support to us right here in GOAT James Kingdom. Now, if we're live on GOAT James Kingdom, we should be live on FYF. I don't know why we're not live on FYF. So let's go ahead and let's get right to it, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate that. Thank you so much. Let's get right to it. Let's start off with my number 10 top 10 greatest championship team. And that will be the 1972 Los Angeles Lakers. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Los Angeles Lakers of 1972 had won 69 games that season. They won the NBA championship. They had the number one offense. They had two players that were in All-League, which was basically Jerry West and Wilt Chamberlain. But they both made the All-NBA and the All-Defensive team and were All-Stars. And on top of that, they had Gail Goodrich, who made the All-Star team, and Wilt Chamberlain led the league in rebounds, while Jerry West led the league in assists. They also had a net rating for the season of 10.5. That's one of the highest net ratings of all the teams in NBA history, especially out of the top teams we're talking about here. This 1972 team beat the Milwaukee Bucks, which were the defending championship, in the playoffs. They ended up beating the New York Knicks, who were the championship team prior to the Bucks, just 2 years prior, in the NBA Finals. Wilt Chamberlain ended up being the Finals MVP. And this team right here was considered the greatest team of all time throughout the annals of the 1900s. So, if we look back in history, we will see that this team right here, who held the record for the most wins in NBA history until the 96 Bulls, was considered one of the greatest teams of all time. And it was obvious because they had Wilt Chamberlain, they had Jerry West. These were iconic players of their time. And the 1972 team also won 33 straight games, which is still a record to this day. So that's why the 1972 team, okay, is the 10th team of my top 10 list. Now, mind you, we're ranking 15 teams, so there are going to be 5 teams that won't end up on my ranking list. And we'll give them the honorable mention at the end. But my 10th team is the Los Angeles Lakers of 1972, which had the best offense in basketball, and they had obviously Wilt Chamberlain and Jerry West. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on to our next team. And if y'all go ahead and give me an opportunity here, shout out to you, peace to you, Zero. Thank you for joining me again. Appreciate y'all. Thank you for joining me. Much love and respect. So now we're going to go on to our number 9 team. The number 9 team is the 1997 Chicago Bulls. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Chicago Bulls of 1997 won 69 games as well, which was basically matching what the 1972 Los Angeles Lakers were doing. That is what we are seeing here, ladies and gentlemen. That the Chicago Bulls of 1997, the year after they won 72 games, only lost 3 games afterwards. They had a net rating of 12, which was the second highest amongst all the teams that we're ranking here. But they had 2 all-league players, which is basically Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, who also made the All-NBA and the All-Defensive team that season. Then they also had 2 All-Stars, which was basically, obviously, Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen. And they had 2 stats leaders, which was Dennis Rodman leading the league in rebounds and Jordan leading the league in scoring. They had the number 1 offense in the NBA in 1997, and they won 69 games and won the championship. The 1997 Bulls is an underrated team. Obviously so, they are outshadowed by the season prior, which is the 1996 Bulls. But the 1997 Chicago Bulls did top the top 10 teams, and they are ranked number 9 on my all-time top 10 greatest championship team seasons. So let's move on to the next team. We have the 2008 Boston Celtics. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2008 Boston Celtics team is a controversial team. Very controversial. Because this team right here got together and won a championship their first season together. And as you can see, they had a net rating of 11.2, so they were very dominant. Y'all wondering why I'm putting the net rating? The net rating is to show the dominance of the team. Your net rating is basically your offensive rating in comparison to your defensive rating, which makes it a plus 11.2 for the Boston Celtics of 2008. They had 2 all-league players, which Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett made the all-league team. Kevin Garnett was all defensive team. Paul Pierce was all NBA team. Kevin Garnett won the Defensive Player of the Year in 2008. All 3 of them were all-stars. And we all know they went to the NBA championship and they beat the Los Angeles Lakers in 6 games, where Paul Pierce ran off with the finals MVP. But within this ranking system, and as dominant as they was with all the accolades and achievements that they had as a team, they ended up being 8th on the list. So very good and a very dominant team. Right? So that goes as the number 18. So we're going to go to the number 17. The number 17, the 1983 Philadelphia 76ers. To me, ladies and gentlemen, this is the greatest team of all time. That's my personal take. But again, I don't give you guys my personal take here in GOAT James Kingdom. But you can see why I consider this team to be the greatest team of all time. They had the league MVP in Moses Malone, which they traded for because he was the league MVP in Houston just the year prior. They had 4 guys make the All-NBA or All-Defensive team that year. They are, of course, one of those few teams that had 2 All-NBA players and 3 All-Defensive players on the same roster in the same season. They had 4 guys make the All-NBA team, which was Maurice Cheeks, Dr. J, Moses Malone, and Bobby Jones. Then they had 4 guys make the All-Star, which are the 4 guys you see here on your screen. And they had a stat leader, and I believe that was Moses Malone, who led the league in rebounding. But they didn't have a great net rating compared to the other teams. As you can see, plus 7.4 is actually great, but it's not as great as we saw with these other teams that were in the double digits when we're talking about net rating. So they weren't as dominant as these other teams, which is why they kind of fell so low in the ranking system. Right? Because in this ranking system, your dominance and having a league MVP is actually the 2 most critical categories. Because we already know to qualify, you just have to win 65 games to be a championship. So the amount of games you win is not actually being used. That was just used for your qualifications. But the amount of players you had, the star-studded roster you had, the league MVP, your dominance over the league was what was being graded. So we're talking about a dominant team in the Philadelphia 76ers. I don't know what anybody ever told you about this team. This is one of the most dominant teams in NBA history. They ran through the playoffs like nothing. Like nothing. They ran through the playoffs like Usain Bolt running a 100-meter dash. Straight up and down. They lost 1 game that NBA playoffs. They swept the Los Angeles Lakers in the NBA Finals with a prime Kareem and a prime Magic and a star-studded Laker team. They whooped them 4 games straight. They didn't see Boston that year, but it didn't matter. If they would have saw Boston that year, Boston would have got annihilated as well. The 1983 76ers was not playing around. Doc was trying to get his first chip in the NBA, and this was his first NBA championship, and he did it with one of the greatest rosters and the greatest teams of all time. They end up being 7th on my all-time greatest championship team season. Talking about the Los Angeles Lakers and Magic and Kareem. The number 16 here is the 1987 Los Angeles Lakers. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't have to speak too much about this team. This team is considered one of the greatest teams of all time. Magic was the league MVP. Him and Michael Cooper made the all-league team. Michael Cooper was all defense. Magic was all NBA. Michael Cooper was the league defensive player of the year. They also had 3 all-stars, which is James Worthy, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Magic Johnson. And Magic also led the league in assists that year. Then on top of that, they had a 9.1 net rating plus net rating, which is dominant. They won 65 games that year. Well, to be honest with you, the 1983 76ers is more equivalent to the 1996 Chicago Bulls, which we can get into very shortly. Right? So, here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We are breaking down my list. Y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Y'all don't be afraid to become a member of the channel. I was told we're not going live on FYF for some reason, but we should be going live on FYF. But if not, come to GOAT James Kingdom. Let everyone know in FYF, hey, come to GOAT James Kingdom. We're doing big things over here. It's all about what we do best over here. And we're going to continue to do what we do best. So I appreciate you guys here who are GOAT James Kingdom supporters. You guys are great. Thank you again. As it is another Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer, I'm giving you guys my greatest championship team seasons. And the number 6 team out of the top 10 is the Los Angeles Lakers. For those that's just arriving, we started off with number 10, the 72 Lakers. They're the 10th ranked team on my list. We see their accomplishments here. We got the Bulls here, the 1997 Bulls. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the 1997 Bulls was a great team. They won 69 games. Matching the 72 Lakers, 69-win team. And was considered the second best record until the Warriors of 2016. Then we have the 8th team, which is the 2008 Boston Celtics. The original big 3 for the Boston Celtics that we all know because we're in the 2000s in the modern era. And then we had the 76ers of 1983, which we were just discussing. And then we also have the number 16, which is again the 1987 Los Angeles Lakers. A great team. One of the first teams to actually repeat because they ended up winning the championship again in 1988. And that was the first team to repeat since the 76ers did it. I mean, since the Celtics did it in the 1960s. Shout out to Ishmael. Yes, I don't know what's going on, Ishmael. I'm trying to get in contact with Lamont. I should be streaming live right now, and it says we are actually streaming live on FYF. I don't see why it's not showing on FYF at all. But we should be live on FYF. If we're live on GOAT James Kingdom, we should be live there as well. It is a multi-stream situation here. I am trying to get in contact with Lamont to figure out what's going on. But either way, we're here doing what we're doing best. Friday Night Exposure has always been a Friday Night Exposure right here on the GOAT James Kingdom platform. And we love the FYF audience, so we're hoping that we can get this corrected very soon. But as of right now, the show must go on, ladies and gentlemen, because we are here to break down these teams. So we're going to get to the top 5 teams of my all-time great championship teams. Peace, chill. Thank you for joining me, brother. I'm breaking down my top 10 greatest teams, championship teams, seasons. The Zesties. Yeah, the Zesties can't handle it today. Well, maybe not. Maybe this might be their day. This might be their day. Because if we go to the number 5 team, it's the 1992 Chicago Bulls. Now, for y'all that don't know, the 1992 Chicago Bulls won 67 games, ladies and gentlemen. 67 games. They had the league MVP in Michael Jordan. They had 2 all-league players which was basically Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, who both made the All-NBA and the All-Defensive team that year. That was Scottie Pippen's first year as an All-NBA player. Then you had both of them being All-Stars, and we obviously had Jordan being the scoring title leader. But obviously it was their dominance that we must talk about. The Bulls had a plus 11 net rating throughout the 92 season. The Chicago Bulls were dominant in the 90s. So we already know that we listed the 1997 Bulls at number 9, and we listed the number 5 team as the 92 Bulls. So where will the 96 Bulls rank on this ranking list? But we'll get to that very shortly. We got to talk about the 92 Chicago Bulls, who had a tough playoff run, actually. They went 7 games with the Knicks in the second round. Then they went up against the Cleveland Cavaliers. They swept the Heat in the first round. That was an easy matchup. One of Jordan's 40-point a playoff series, I believe, in 92 against the Heat. But either way, Michael Jordan in 1992 and the Chicago Bulls went on to win 67 games. They went on to win the NBA championship. They went on to win back-to-back championships, the first team to do it since the Lakers did it in the 80s. And they were one of the greatest teams of all time. Again, only 21 teams have ever won 65 games or more. And out of those 21 teams, only 15 of them have won an NBA championship. And out of those 15 teams, this Chicago Bull team is ranked number 5 on my list because they were a dominant team. Shout out to you, Najee. Appreciate you. Thank you for joining me again, y'all. This is the Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer. We are having fun. We are supposed to be going live as well on FYF Sports Debate. If you guys know how to reach Lamont, go ahead and reach him because I have reached out to him. I am on here doing big things. And it is up to them to have the platform ready. But we are here to do what we do best. Right? Because I give y'all my ranking. I tell y'all how I do this. And I'm going to put the link up shortly for y'all to understand how I scored these numbers. But after the number 5 team, we're going to go to the number 4 team, which are the 1971 Milwaukee Bucks. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys don't know about the 1971 Milwaukee Bucks, you don't know the game of basketball. The 1970 Milwaukee Bucks did have the league MVP in Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was a phenom coming into the league. It was his second season. Both him and Oscar Robertson made the All-NBA team that year. They both were the All-Stars of the team. And obviously, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the scoring title winner that year. They had the number 1 offense in basketball. They ended up beating if I'm correct, they beat the San Francisco Warriors in the NBA Finals. They also got past a Jerry West and a Elgin Baylor-less Laker team with just only Wilt Chamberlain. They were able to beat them 4-1, and that's how they were able to get to the finals, and that's how they were able to win an NBA championship. But this is one of the top-ranked teams because, as you can see, they were very dominant. They had a plus 10.8 net rating that season, which means that they were very dominant as a team. Plus, they had a league MVP. Now, the Defensive Player of the Year did not exist around that time, so there was no point of bringing it up. But either way, they had a dominant team. This was Oscar Robertson's only championship, and most people hold Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, hold this against Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They always say that he never won a championship without a great point guard, such as a Magic Johnson and an Oscar Robertson. It was the Celtics. They beat the Celtics. Not in the finals. They probably beat the Celtics in the first round, if you're correct, because back then there were only 2 rounds in the playoffs. So I know they faced they were in the Western Conference. They were not even in the Eastern Conference there, chill. 1971 Milwaukee Bucks were in the Western Conference. That's why they faced the Los Angeles Lakers. Remember, this is a 19, 20 team NBA or 18 team NBA back then. There wasn't too many West Coast teams. Milwaukee was one of them. But they're one of the greatest teams of all time. A lot of people talk about this team because of obviously Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's brilliance. And I believe at this time, he was Lou Alcindor. He wasn't even Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But again, this is 10 years before I was born. So I don't know too much about the 70s. But either way, this team got ranked very high. They're the number 4 team. Now let's move on to the number 3 team, which is going to be a shocker. I know, ladies and gentlemen, you're asking, hey, Johnny, the 2015 Warriors? Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the 2015 Warriors. The 2015 Warriors. Ladies and gentlemen, this is funny, because when you talk about the 2015 Warriors, not only did they have the number 1 offense, they did have a net rating of 10.2 plus. That means they were a dominant team throughout that season. They had the league MVP. They had 4 players, which matched the 83 Sixers, and the only 2 teams that I know of to have 4 players on their roster make an all-league selection team. They had Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry as all NBA players. Draymond Green and Andrew Bogut made the all-defensive team. Then on top of that, you have Klay Thompson and Stephen Curry making the all-star team. I mean, this is a completely shocker to me when I was doing the numbers. And they won 67 games. So it's not like, it's like, I don't know what people are going to talk about. Honestly, the Warriors dynasty needs to be examined. We're going to have a true documentary. Because these guys, from 2015 and on to like 2018, and from those 4 years, the Warriors were incredible. I know a lot of people don't like Draymond Green. They don't think Klay Thompson is that. They're doing that now, but Klay Thompson in 2015 was that dude. So this Warriors team ended up being a high-ranked team because, again, they were very dominant. They had the league MVP, and they had a star-studded roster because they had all league players and all-stars on their roster. So they met every criteria that we're talking about here when we're talking about what determines the greatest teams of all time. Remember, I told y'all, check the poll, and you can see in the poll what factor determines a team's greatness. And I asked y'all, is it team record? Which we all agree is the team record. That's why the 1996 Bulls is considered the greatest team of all time. They've won 72 games. So we have a team record. You have the league MVP, because shout out to Chilltown who let me know this information. Not too many MVPs have been NBA champions within the same season, right? You have a star-studded roster, or you have dominance. And I'm using the net rating to determine dominance. Because like I told you here in GOAT James Kingdom, we don't just say stuff to say stuff. Dominance is a very vague word. So I'm going to attach something that we can all know. Your net rating for the season. And they had a plus 10.2 rating for the Warriors, which is very high, very great. It was almost as great as the 2017 Warriors team. So now we're down to the last 2 teams. Which team will be number 1? Is it the 96 Bulls? Is it the 2017 Warriors? Right? And I know y'all asking as well, what about LeBron's team? Well, we keep telling y'all, LeBron never had great teams. He just was great enough to take those teams far into the playoffs and win several championships on top of that. But we're going to go on to the number 2 team. The number 2 team, ladies and gentlemen, is the 2017 Warriors. And why is it the 2017 Warriors? As you can see, the 2017 Warriors had the number 1 offense in the NBA. They had 3 all-league players on their roster, which was right there in front of your face. Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, Stephen Curry. They had the Defensive Player of the Year. Yes, y'all, Draymond Green has the same amount of Defensive Player of the Year as Michael Jordan. And Michael Jordans don't even count. Yeah, Twin Man, I'm going to give you the link. You're going to be able to come up here and come challenge the expose on why the 2017 Warriors are not better than the 1996 Bulls. But if we're looking at this team again, they were a great team. And if I'm correct, Draymond Green led the league in steals that year as well. So this team obviously won, I believe they won 67 games as well. And they won the NBA championship. This is the first year Kevin Durant had joined this team after they won 73 games the year prior. So what we have here is a great team. And this team ran through the NBA like it was nothing. They had a plus 11.6 net rating. That means they were dominant as a team. This was the year Westbrook went for a triple-double. That's the only reason why none of these guys are the MVPs. Peace to you, Juan Boy. You go to the GOAT James Kingdom platform on YouTube and you hit the join membership and you become a member of the channel. We appreciate you. Thank you so much for considering becoming a member. But when it's time to talk about the greatest teams of all time, ladies and gentlemen, the Warriors, we all know it's always about the Warriors. Because this 2017 is a cheat code to put Kevin Durant in his prime with Stephen Curry in his prime, with Draymond Green in his prime, and I don't even have Klay Thompson up here. And they had other guys on there as well, like David West, Iguodala, Livingston. They had a deep roster. They were a great team. They should have won more than 67 games, if you really ask me. But either way, they cruised their way to an NBA championship, and we're going to cruise our way to saying that the number one team is the 1996 Chicago Bulls. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chicago Bulls of 1996 become the number one team because they had the number one offense. They had the top net rating of all time of any team that won 65 games or more, which was basically a 13.4. That is dominant, ladies and gentlemen. The Chicago Bulls of 1996 had no competition at all. They had the league MVP. They had 3 players that made the all-league team. All 3 of these guys were on the all-defensive first team. Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen was on the All-NBA first team. In fact, Scottie Pippen was, I think, top 5 in MVP voting or top 5 in Defensive Player of the Year voting. I think it was top 3 in Defensive Player of the Year voting this year. They both made the All-Stars. Rodman led the league in rebounds. Jordan led the league in steals. They cruised their way through the playoffs. We all know they swept the Shaquille O'Neal and Penny Magic team in the Eastern Conference Finals. They didn't have no struggles throughout that playoff series. They went up 3 games to nothing against us. The Sonics. Sonics rallied for 2 games, but then the Bulls eventually won in the 6th game, and it was over. It was a wrap. The dynasty was officially starting again. Michael Jordan came back. He reigned to the top. Exactly right. Ridiculously stacked. Not to mention, this team had the 6th man of the year in Tony Kukoc. No, again, I'm not going by just seasonal awards. There are determining factors, and we're going to discuss that very shortly. I'm going to put the link up for y'all. But as you guys can see, right, the 1996 Chicago Bulls was a stacked team. They were completely stacked. And a lot of the zesty Jeffries will tell you Michael Jordan was winning with nothing on his roster, which we all know is false. We all know it's false. This team of 1996 is the greatest team of all time based off of the idea of having a league MVP, having a star-studded roster, and dominating the league at their time. Because remember, the intro to the show, we had a zesty Jeffrey explain to us how we're supposed to help determine the greatness of a team.
Over time, you're right. Athletes do get bigger, better, stronger, and through trial and error, coaches figure out what works and what doesn't work. The question, however, is not the best team, it's the greatest team. What's the difference? Let's take the one sport that is measured completely objectively, that's track and field. So in the 100-meter dash, how many of the top 10 sprinters in the world would Jesse Owens beat today? The answer is 0. They would dust him, every single one. They're all better than him. That's not really what we mean. We mean who's greater. How did they fare against their own contemporaries? Because you could argue based on the equipment they used and the technology at the time and the training methods, if you put Jesse Owens today, you can't do that. So you have to see how they fared against their contemporaries.
Right? You got to see how they fare against their contemporaries. So we had to measure them by how they dominated the league at the time that they were in the league, which is fine with me because that's how we always do it here in GOAT James Kingdom. But we know what numbers to go look for when we want to talk about dominance. So I went to go look up a team's net rating, which helps you understand how dominant they would have been that season. So these are all the factors that I use to determine all of these teams. Now, mind you, the 5 teams, right? Again, ladies and gentlemen, we did have some teams here, right, that didn't win an NBA championship, that didn't make it. And one of the teams that didn't make the top 10 list that did win a championship, right, was the 68 76ers. They didn't make the top 10 list. Then we also have the 86 Celtics didn't make the top 10 list as well. I know a lot of people are upset about that, but hey, they didn't crack the list. They didn't have enough. They were not as dominant as these other teams. They were not as great. They did have a league MVP, but they didn't score high enough to get in the top 10. Another team that didn't make it was the 2000 Lakers, which we all agree was one of the most dominant teams in NBA history. But they still didn't have enough to crack the top 10 to beat the other top 10 teams that we were discussing. Another team that didn't crack the top 10 was the 2009 Laker team, which was Kobe's team, which won 65 games as well and won his first championship without Shaq and his first of 2 without Shaq. So that team didn't make the top 10 list. And then obviously the other team that didn't make the top 10 list is the 2013 Miami Heat team, which won 66 games and won 27 straight games in the season, but they did not crack the top 10 list. So if we go back again and we talk about the top 10 teams of all time that I have here, my Ajani's greatest championship season teams of all time, what we will have to start off with, right, ladies and gentlemen, is the 1972 Los Angeles Lakers. That's the number 10 team. Then the number 9 team is the 1997 Chicago Bulls. The number 8 team is the 2008 Celtics. The 7th team is the 1983 76ers. The 6th team is the 1987 Los Angeles Lakers. The 5th team is the 1992 Chicago Bulls. The 4th greatest team here on this list is the 71 Bucks. The 3rd greatest team on this list, and which is the shocker of all, the 2015 Warriors, who won 67 games that year and had 4 players make an all-league team. That's incredible when you really think about it. When you really, really think about it. And then you have the 2017 Warriors, and to top it off, obviously, is the 1996 Chicago Bulls, who had the greatest team of all time, the greatest run of all time. It is very hard to argue against the 1996 Chicago Bulls. They were a stacked lineup, from head to toe. Shout out to you. Appreciate you, Juan Boy. Thank you for becoming a member of the channel. Reach out to us here at goatjameskingdom@gmail.com or goatjameskingdomshow@gmail.com, where we'll be more than glad to help you out with anything you need. Make sure you check out all the perks for the level that you are in as a Goat James Kingdom member. Thank you for becoming a channel member and a supporter to what we do here in Goat James Kingdom. So we are here to do some big things. I'm about to put the link up for y'all. We about to have some fun. We about to have a conversation. Because again, this is the GOAT James Kingdom platform. Y'all hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, become a member of the channel. We are supposed to be going live on FYF Sports Debate. If anybody can get in contact with anybody from the FYF Sports Debate platform, let them know Ajani is live and trying to figure this out. As of right now, it says that I should be going live on all of his platforms. All the FYF platforms should have me going live right now. But I don't know what's going on. Either way, we are live right here on the GOAT James Kingdom platform, so y'all please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, become a member of the channel. You guys know what we do best here in GOAT James Kingdom. Follow us on IG, TikTok, Twitter, Discord, Facebook. We are all over the place. We are doing big things. As I told y'all earlier, we have also reached the 100,000 membership in the Facebook group, so shout out to everybody who's supporting us over there. But we are ranking the top 10 greatest championship teams of all time. And we are basically breaking it down by team record, the league MVP, star-studded roster, and league dominance. So the link is up for anybody who wants to join. I'm going to reach out to them on Discord. As of right now, I'm in the middle of a show. I can't try to do technical difficulties. I don't have an IT department. Sooner or later, we will be doing that. We're going to continue to grow here in GOAT James Kingdom. We're actually going to be doing Sunday's show on FYF platform. So we're going to have more chances to reach out to different folks and do bigger things because, again, we want to talk the game of basketball. I just put the link up for anybody who wants to join me. We are going live straight off of the YouTube platform. This is the GOAT James Kingdom channel. I'm Ajani the Exposer. This is the Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer. We are here to have some fun. I just put the link up for anybody who wants to join me. The link is up for all those who want to come up and talk with Ajani about this top 10 list. So let me go out and reach out to Lamont, because I can see that we're not going live off of his platform, which is weird. It's completely weird. But ladies and gentlemen, I have put the link up for you guys. We were ranking the top 10 greatest players, top 10 greatest championship teams seasons of all time, just for 1 year. And the Chicago Bulls ended up being the #1 team of all time. If anybody is in contact with anybody FYF, let them know that I am streaming live right now and it's supposedly not on his platform. It is not on Lamont's platform. So, the link is up for y'all who want to join me and have a conversation about the game of basketball. As y'all can see, we are doing big things. This is what we do best. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, become a member of the channel. As I told y'all before as well, we will be taking GOAT James Kingdom show on Sunday afternoon on FYF. And we will be multi-streaming there as well. We'll still be on GOAT James Kingdom platform, but we'll be multi-streaming on FYF. And we have a very great show and a great topic for you guys as our debut show on FYF. Because you guys know what we do best. But meanwhile, go check out the GOAT James Kingdom membership. Become a member of the channel. Because by becoming a member, you support what Brandon and I do on a day-to-day basis. We are doing big things here in GOAT James Kingdom. Shout out to Moose Talk Sports. Hey, Moose Talks, if you can reach out to Lamont, let him know I am live right now, and for some reason it's not on FYF's platform and it's not showing, although it says that I am. So please reach out to him because I am going live right now on FYF and the GOAT James Kingdom platform. We're also on the other platforms like the FYF Twitter account, FYF Twitch account. We're also going live on our IG account on GOAT James Kingdom. So shout out to everybody that supports us there on IG as well. But we are live right here. We are the GOAT James Kingdom platform. We are doing big things. Tonight's show is about my top 10 greatest championship team seasons of all time. And the Chicago Bulls ended up being the #1 team. I know it's not that much of a shocker, but most people do not know how great the 96 Chicago Bulls team is. Either way, they ended up being one of the top ranked teams out of all the teams that I ranked. So that's what tonight's episode is about. The link is up for anybody who wants to join me here again, and we're going to have a great show here. Peace was good. Thank you for joining. Oh, he got off. I just had you. Lost him. All right, y'all. The link is up. If y'all want to come join me, y'all let me know what we do best here. I gave y'all my top 10 teams. If you need me to go down the list again, I can go down the list again. I am putting the link up for anybody who wants to come join me and have fun on a Friday night exposure with the Exposer. I just explained to you guys how the Chicago Bulls of the 1996 team was the greatest team of all time. They really had, like I said, they had a roster, like I said, that didn't exist in NBA history only several times. It's like in reality, no one had it. Besides the 83 Sixers and the 96 Bulls, no one had 2 All-NBA first team and 3 All-Defensive first team players. But the only difference between the 96 team, the 96 team and the 83 team is obviously the 86 team had more players make all selections, because they had guys like Andrew Toney making the All-Star team. And then they had guys like Bobby Jones making the All-Defensive team. On top of the fact they had Maurice Cheeks, Dr. J, and Moses Malone. But the 1996 Bulls, as you can see, were just more dominant. They had the #1 offense. They had the highest net rating out of all these teams that I'm ranking. And again, all these teams that I'm ranking are based off of these teams right here. These are the teams that have won 65 games or more in NBA history. And out of these teams that won 65 games or more, there's 21 teams here. Only 15 of them has won NBA championships. So that means 3 out of every 4 of these teams ended up being a champion. That's a 75% odds of being a champion. If you win 64 games, those odds go from 75 to like 33, 32%. So 65 games is the marker if you really want to determine whether you're going to win an NBA championship or not. More than likely, if you're winning 65 games, you're going to be an NBA champion. And the only teams that didn't win it were because, like the Spurs in 2016, had to face the Warriors. Now, it would have been great for the 2009 Cavaliers to have made the finals versus the Lakers, because then we would have had 2 of those teams, but one of them would have lost that year either way. And then we have the Mavericks, who lost in 2007, that won 67 games. We know that was the biggest upset that we all could remember in recent time, when they lost to the Golden State Warriors and Baron Davis and them. And then we have the 73 Celtics, who won 68 games, and they couldn't win an NBA championship. So there was only the 6 teams in NBA history, and obviously we know the Warriors of 2016 didn't win the champion as well. They lost. And the Rockets lost to the 2018 Warriors, even though they won 65 games. And I believe that Warrior team only won 64 games. Well, this is what this is. This is the top playoff championship teams. And we're going to go by record. What's better than what teams are better than these 21 teams? None of the teams that we can think about outside of teams that won 65 games. What team that didn't win 65 games that won a championship that can compete and be put on this list that we can rank and do our thing? Because remember, we're going to rank them by their dominance. We're going to rank whether they won the league MVP or not. We're going to rank them by their star-studded roster. So, what other teams can we put on here that we could say was considered a great team? Because, again, these are all the teams that won 65 games or more. There's only 21 teams to do that in 70-plus years in the league, which is a rare feat. And only 15 of them won an NBA championship. So that is the key in all of this. Big time stuff going on when we're talking about winning championships and winning 65 games. That's like I said, we're talking about the 2015 Warriors, right? They won 67 games that year. That's a great accomplishment. That's just as good as the 92 Bulls that won 67 games. I mean, you know, there's a lot of people who, like I said, who say things, but they don't have nothing to stand on when you say things. And I get it. As basketball fans, everybody wants to have their take. I get it. You want to have your opinion. That's fine. But when we really look at it, and like I said, if we go look at what the poll says and what y'all say here in the polls, if I go look at the polls right now, out of the 67 votes I have here, 57 of the people talk about dominance over your opponent as the one of the key factors to determine your team's greatness. The next thing is a team's record. Well, if that's the case, and if we're going off of those two being the top two dynamics, right? Then of course the Bulls of '96 fall right in line, because their dominance with a plus 13.4 net rating shows that, right? Their team record of 72 wins. Even with this team right here, the Warriors, their dominance shows with their plus 11.6 net rating. Now, I believe this team won 66 games or 65 games. If I believe, let me double check that. No, they won 67 games as well. So this Warriors team won just as much games as this Warriors team won, which was 67 games. And then if we go to the Bucks won 66 games, and they had a dominant team. Again, you can see all these teams have their net rating are in double digits. So that's the dominance that we're talking about here when we're talking about being a dominant team and their team record. This team won 65 games, but they were not as dominant, and 65 wins is not as great as 67, right? This team won 65 games as well. They're not as dominant. Now, this team, I believe, the Celtics won 66 games, but they were dominant, but they didn't have a star-studded roster or have one of the high-ranking or number one ranked defense or number one ranked offense. The 97 Bulls did. They were super dominant. They just didn't have a star-studded cast in general when we're talking about making all-league teams and all-league rosters. But they still were very dominant, and they won 69 games. So in certain scenarios, they could have been leaped up. Now, again, what's hurting these two teams here is the fact that they didn't have a league MVP. If they had a league MVP on either one of these two teams, it would have boosted them up. And then you have this team, which was super dominant as well. But out of all the teams that won 65 games, I think it falls in line with what y'all said, which is basically team record and dominance. So again, y'all hit that link. Let's have a conversation because I'm ready to enjoy myself. It doesn't look like we're not working well. I don't know why we're not on FYF's platform right now. But also, right, if I get an opportunity to do this here, I also remember that I had done a super team, a showdown. And if I go to what the results of what that was, because I remember we did that is on a Friday Night Exposure episode 38, ladies and gentlemen. And when we did this was the super team showdown. So I just went and found a bunch of super teams. All right, this wasn't no particular criteria other than the teams that people would normally say were considered super teams because they had star-studded rosters and all-stars on their roster. And when we did the voting to do this and we ranked everybody, again, the Chicago Bulls of the 1996 and the 2017 Warriors ended up facing one another. And at the end of the day, the results of that was the 2017 Warriors won that. They beat the Chicago Bulls. Now, I don't know why I don't have the graph for that when I thought this would have been the graph at the end of the day. But as you can see, the Warriors of 2017 and the 1996 Chicago Bulls are the two top teams in this discussion. And depending on how you want to rank them, one team can be ranked over the other. Now, I do believe talent-wise, skill-wise, and if we were going to put teams up versus one another, I believe the 2017 Warriors would win a series versus any team in NBA history. I don't see nobody beating that team. I think you would have to go get one of the Olympic teams to beat the 2017 Warriors. They just had too much going for themselves. Especially if we're not playing in today's era. If they were playing back in the old days with the old rules, it'd be worse for everybody. Because I don't see no one stopping Kevin Durant or Stephen Curry on one side of the floor by themselves. You're not going to do it. Those guys will barbecue everything. And the double teams are not going to help. Because all you're doing is going to leave Kevin Durant open or Stephen Curry open or Klay Thompson open. And it's going to be nothing but lights out. They're going to hit so many threes. None of those teams are going to be able to keep up with them. None of these teams. The team that's going to beat the 2017 Warriors is going to be a future team. It will not be no team in the past, including any team that existed now. So this was what I did. Again, this was the 38th episode of the Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer. Where I basically put these teams up against each other in our GOAT James Kingdom YouTube community, and people made the votes, and those were the choices. And at the end of the day, everybody selected the Golden State Warriors to beat the Chicago Bulls in a 7-game series, and this was my super team showdown. So that's what we have there when we're talking about great teams. So there's a lot of different things, like I said, when it comes to the great teams or not. Yeah, they were great defensively as well. Yeah, the 2017 Warriors were a great team. Again, they did have the Defensive Player of the Year in 2017 in Draymond Green, right? They had Draymond Green make the All Defensive team as well that year. So they were a very good team. Kevin Durant's not a bad defender. They still had Iguodala, right? They had David West. They had JaVale McGee. So they had a solid crew of guys that can help them win. They had Zaza Pachulia too, as well, if I'm correct, right? Because that's where he hurt Kawhi Leonard that season, if I'm correct, or was it the year before? Could have been the year before. Yeah, complete unfair, complete unfair team, and it was because of the new collective bargain agreement that was signed prior to that season that allowed them to even get Kevin Durant over there. Because if it wasn't for that, they wouldn't have been able to afford Kevin Durant, and they actually fixed the problem of what caused that to happen as well. So, yeah, it was Zaza Pachulia when he stepped up. But was that in 2016 playoffs or was it in 2017's playoff? That's where I'm confused. I'm trying to figure that out. That's where I'm more confused about that. So, but yeah, I mean, again, we're going to go down the list again. I'll give you my top 10 teams. The number 1 team is the Chicago Bulls of 1996. The number 2 team is obviously the Warriors of 2017. I guess if you want to alternate those teams, you can figure it out. The Warriors had just missed it by just a few points to make that team. Then we also have the 2015 Warriors. Again, that is the shocker of the day. I know everybody's like, how did they do it? But they had a great roster. They had a great roster. Yeah, they had everything going. The 2017 Warriors had everything going. So did the Chicago Bulls. Matter of fact, the Chicago Bulls of 1996 were ahead of their time. And let's let Dr. J explain.
You got to consider when you talk about this Bulls team is that all year long they've been giving the fans of the basketball world a glimpse of the future, what the NBA is going to be like in the 21st century. It's going to be an international league, and they have 2 of the 3 best American players on their team. They have the best player ever playing from Croatia. They have the best player ever from the country of Australia. So we're getting a sneak preview of what it's going to be like in the 21st century.
Peace to you, Sturdy. Yeah, that's a great question. Playoff records, it was hard to determine, right? Because teams like the 71 Bucks only played 2 rounds. So they only played 3 rounds in total. Some teams played 5-game series, some teams didn't. Some teams played 3-game series, some teams didn't. I was just about to bring you up, Aaron. You can come back up if you want to. I was just about to bring you up. So it was for me, I was finding hard ways to actually determine which one is greater. Again, here in GOAT James Kingdom, we like to try to figure out a way to determine what's better, and I was having trouble doing that. Because in reality, when you think about it, I don't think those Warriors ran through the playoffs like the Chicago Bulls or the 83 Sixers, right? Because the 1983 Sixers and I believe the Chicago Bulls, the Chicago Bulls of 96 lost 3 games, I believe, that year. And the 83 Sixers only lost 1 game. The 2000 Lakers only lost 1 game, I believe, in the playoffs. So how would we determine which one was better? That was what I was trying to figure out. I couldn't really figure out how that would factor in. But you're more than welcome to hit the link, bro, and explain it to me. I'm all ears. Again, we are always all ears to hear what you guys got to say. So let me let Aaron up here. Peace, Aaron. Thank you for joining me, brother. What's good, man? What you got for me this evening?
Hey, what's up, Ajani? I just wanted to say, I understand your points about the 96 Bulls and stuff. But the 2017 Warriors faced way more competition than the 96 Bulls because the best competition that the Bulls faced in 96 was maybe like Shaq's Magic. In 2017, in the first round, the Warriors faced Lillard, McCollum, Nurkic. In the Western Conference Finals, they faced Aldridge, Gasol, Danny Green, Ginobili, Kawhi, Tony Parker. In the finals, they faced the GOAT LeBron. In 2018, in the first round, they faced the same Spurs team. In the second round, they faced AD, Cousins, Rondo, Drew Holiday, Emeka Okafor. In the Western Conference Finals, they faced Harden, CP3, Joe Johnson, Capella, Gerald Green. In the finals, they faced the GOAT again. That Warriors team right there had 2 MVPs. Curry won MVP, 3-point title, and scoring title. Durant won MVP, scoring title. Draymond, Defensive Player of the Year. That Warriors team had three of the best shooters the NBA has ever seen in the history of the NBA. So to me, I feel you on your points in the '96 Bulls because to me, they also were like it's like hard to like choose which one is better. But like offensively, that Warriors team just smokes every team that to ever play in the NBA.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
but that '96 Bulls defense is something else to be because
100%,
yeah, they had a good
yeah.
defense. But you did bring up some good points about the competition because obviously they had some questions about it back then in '96. And let's let Larry Bird explain why the competition of the '90s was a little bit weaker than other eras.
Larry, we know that this Bulls team is on the short list of the great teams of all time. But what about the overall quality of the NBA in the mid-'90s? How do you think it stacks up to a decade or so ago?
Well, I think the expansion teams has really hurt the league. I think it's depleted some of the talent in our league. But, you know, you got to give the Bulls all the credit in the world. They've won a number of games, and it looks like they're going to win the NBA championship. So you got to give them all the credit in the world. They're a great basketball team. They got three players, and Jordan and Pippen and Rodman, that are very focused, and they come to play every night. They're tough, and they got a chance to do something no one's ever done before, and you have to give them all the credit in the world.
So there you have it. That's Larry Bird explaining to you guys the same thing we've always said about the '90s and how the expansion era kind of spread out the talent in the league. They were not able to actually replenish the talent that they were actually trying to spread out. So they had to go get high school players, international players into the league. And obviously the Bulls were ahead of the curve because they went and got Kukoc early in the '90s. They went and got Longley. They were always interested in getting the raw talent that most people were not thinking about, like a Scottie Pippen, like a Tracy McGrady. They were always ahead of their curve. That's why Jerry Krause is a Hall of Fame GM. And at the end of the day, the '90s were the Bulls era because it was a weak era. Even if we look at it from the standpoint of the teams, right, that actually won 65 games or more. If you look at it, every era besides the '60s and the '90s had more than one team. And if we look at it, because most people don't like to count the '60s, but if we look at the '90s, 3 times it happened. It was only Chicago. No one in the '90s could win 65 games. Look how many teams did it in the 2010s. Look how many teams did it in the 2000s. So, yeah, go ahead, Aaron.
And I was gonna say too, like it's just crazy to me the way they say the way they always bring up how LeBron had super teams. Meanwhile, that '96 Bulls was a super duper team at a time when there was no super teams in the entire league at the time. You know what I'm saying? That Bulls team had 3 of the top 5 best defenders of that era on one team. Then you had the best European player on that team, with Kukoc. And you're facing a team like the Utah Jazz, where Stockton never once in his career has ever averaged 18 points per game for a season, bro. I mean, I understand that he didn't take that many shot attempts, but come on now, bro. The only scorer the Jazz had was Malone. You know what I'm saying? Hornacek never even only averaged 20 points one time in his whole career. You know what I'm saying? Same thing with the Sonics. Like, Kemp was a great highlight player, you know what I'm saying? But he only averaged 20 points one time in his whole career. Like, Gary Payton even admitted it to himself that he's not an elite scorer, but he tries to be a better scorer. You know what I'm saying? Gary Payton wasn't even a super elite scorer. But these guys make it seem like Jordan was just facing the best competition. This dude, dudes even be saying that the Bulls were the dynasty. So when I say that the Bulls never faced a dynasty team in the finals, they say, oh, because the Bulls were the dynasty. But even if you are the dynasty, you not facing dynasty teams, it's a taint on your legacy, bro. Because Kareem's Lakers had a dynasty team and they faced dynasties. Bird had a dynasty team and he faced dynasty teams. LeBron had no dynasty team and he faced dynasty teams and beat them. So like this shit is mind blowing to me, bro. For real, like it's truly mind blowing, bro.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Paul, thank you for being patient, Brian. What you got for me tonight on today's topic?
What is these teams? Actually, I wanna know. Is the 65 plus games wins?
65 plus wins for NBA. Only 21 teams in NBA history have ever won 65 games or more. Out of those teams, 15 of them have won championships. And these are all the teams that are here that did that. So we can start off from the top. I'll give you, it's the 67 Sixers. They won 68 games, right? Then if we go down to the 70s, we had the Lakers in 72, we had the Bucks in 71, and we had the Celtics in 73, right? Then if you go to the 80s, you had the 86 Celtics, the 87 Lakers, the 83 Sixers. Then in the 90s, it was all Chicago, 92, 96, and 97 team. And then if we go to the 2000s, we have several teams, which is basically majority of the teams. 11 of the 21 teams happened in the 2000s. You had the 2000 Lakers, the 07 Mavs, the 08 Celtics, the 2009 Cavaliers, the 2009 Lakers, the 2016 Warriors, 2017 Warriors. I'm sorry, the 2016 Spurs, 2015 Warriors, 2013 Heat, and the 2018 Rockets. So these are all the teams that won, and I ranked them from basically by their dominance, which is basically using the net rating, right, for their season, and whether they had all NBA players, all defensive players, or all stars. They had the league MVP or defensive player of the year, and whether they were the number one ranked offense or defense. Now, mind you, none of these teams had a number one ranked defense, but some of them had the number one ranked offense.
So I mean, I'm very surprised, that the Sixers didn't 160 games, 65.
Which game? Which team was that?
The 60 Celtics. The 60 Celtics.
Yeah, none of the 60 Celtics teams ever won 65 games plus. The most they ever won, I believe, was 64.
Wow,
Yep.
that is amazing. I mean, that is very impressive. I didn't thought that because, they won like 11 championships. And
yeah, I would have thought the same too. But when you go look at it, like I said, only 21 teams in NBA history have ever won 65 games plus.
That's crazy.
But I mean, in the 90s, now that I'm seeing the Bulls, who did Michael Jordan face? I mean, who won 65 plus?
Nobody.
Games?
Nobody. We just said it. Nobody could win 65 plus games. Matter of fact, in 92, when the Bulls won 67 games, no other team even won 60 games.
So what was the competition?
There is no competition. We keep telling them that. Here we go, y'all. We got Reggie Reg is in the building. Shout out to Reggie Reg. Reggie Reg says, shout out LeBron in the 2016 finals. The only the GOAT could finesse the commissioner and get Draymond suspended in Game 4. His snitching is underrated. Oh my God, these guys are special, bro. I don't know what to say about these dudes, bro. It is hilarious.
But how about the snitching that Jordan did? Jordan snitched on his teammates, talking about his teammates doing crack in the locker room.
Well, no. First of all, Draymond Green suspended for one game, and it was game 5. It was Game 5.
Yeah, Game 5.
What happened Game 6? What happened Game 7?
Exactly. What happened Game 6?
Matter of fact, you should be happy that 2016 season happened. Because guess what? If that would have happened, then the Chicago Bulls ain't the number one team of all time.
All right, but how about this though? So do they have the same energy for the 1991 championship that Jordan won? Because Magic caught the virus in 1991 and ended up retiring in 1992. So
no, Jordan snitched. Jordan snitched.
What
Jordan
the
snitched.
hell a virus got to do? What the hell?
Jordan.
I'm just saying,
That's what he's saying, Craig. Well, shout out to Craig. What up, Craig? Thank you for joining me.
I can understand
Craig.
an injury, but since when all of a sudden you catch something after the season, and that's the reason why
Well, that is
you
true.
lost, because you didn't even know you had it when you was playing. I can understand if you knew he was hurt, but you can't say because he got HIV. That's
you
was better off saying because the virus was hurt.
That's the same thing they do with LeBron.
Who got HIV that LeBron played?
If Draymond wasn't injured, in games, if Draymond didn't get suspended for Game 5, the Cavs would have never won. Draymond played in Game 6 and Game 7, and LeBron James still dropped the triple double.
So how is that a comparable? Magic played in all 5 games. So how is that?
Because
comparable?
they come up with the most moronic takes. So I'm gonna do the same. Bro.
But it's easy. But Aaron, you don't even have to do that. You can stick it to basketball. You can clearly say Michael Jordan snitched to the NBA to change the rules.
Yeah, I understand.
No. Just no. Listen, Aaron, pay attention. Listen. Forget all the other stuff. That's the snitching right there. Jordan legitimately was crying to the league about the Detroit Pistons, and they changed the rules for him. So if LeBron was crying to the league and snitching, which he didn't cry to the league and snitch, it was all on film, all on footage, watching what Draymond Green did. We all know Draymond Green. In fact, they call him the pickle puncher. So hey, that's the snitch part right there. But let's let Craig get in right quick. What up, Craig? Thank you for joining me, brother. As you can see, we're talking the top 10 greatest championship season teams.
Now records matter.
Records always matter. Who said it wasn't matter?
65 games to be considered a good team, because I know a player that played the most 60-win teams in his finals appearances and beat them all.
Yeah, but none of them were better than his team. So it's pointless to bring it up.
So they still won 60+ games.
They didn't win 65 games. They won as much as Chicago Bulls.
Y'all gotta make the target 65, because there was a lot of 61 teams in the 90s.
No,
they just didn't win 65 games.
I made it 65 because once you go below 65, the odds of you winning a championship drop 50% or more.
I see a lot of non-65 teams, just as many as 60+ teams that didn't win.
No, that's false. Only 5.
1, 2, 3,
6
4, 5
out of 21. Six teams out of 21. That is a 25% mark. 25% of the teams that won 60 games didn't lose a championship. 75% of the teams that won 60 games didn't win an NBA championship.
Now you see, like if you I'm glad you have this about the records. Now you see how y'all was talking about how the Eastern Conference was competition because of the records. Now y'all saying because there was no 60-win teams that many in the 90s, there was no competition. So which one is it? Because I was saying how competitive the East was, and only one team won 60 games.
No, we were saying that out of all the teams, it's no competitive. No, there's only one team in the 90s. There's only one team in the 90s, the Bulls.
So
there's other teams.
So the same logic would apply in this thing. Only the same.
No, Craig? How many teams you see in every era? Every other era has at least 3 teams. The Bulls is the only era where it's only them. They were the only team that could win.
But to win, okay then, because they had fucking Jordan.
No, not because they had Jordan.
Argue about Jordan for shit
That's
like
not.
This.
No, because
it's only Jordan team.
They didn't have just Jordan. They didn't just have Jordan. They didn't just have Jordan.
What other team in the 90s had Jordan and win 65 games then?
What other team in the 90s had 2 All-NBA and 2 All-Defensive players on their same roster in the same team? Nobody else.
Jordan on it. Well, that same Bulls team lost.
It doesn't matter.
Player and didn't win 65 games.
Exactly. Jordan's not winning 65 games. Never. Jordan can't even win 50 games. What are you talking about? Jordan can't win 50 games. Jordan's only winning those games because of the team. This is why it's about the team. It's not about Jordan. You're making it about Jordan. Jordan's not the reason why.
Only Jordan teams can win.
The Bulls. Only the Bulls. Only the Bulls.
Only the Bulls.
The Bulls. Yes, not Jordan's team. If Jordan by himself, if Jordan don't have Pippen, not even winning 50 games.
Well, Pippen don't have Jordan, they don't win. They don't make it to the finals either.
They win 50. They make the playoffs and they win 50-something games. That's what facts.
They made the playoffs. Well,
that's what facts.
I know that Jordan made the playoffs every time he was in the Bulls uniform. I can't say the same for Pippen.
Pippen made the playoffs more than Jordan. What are you talking about? Pippen made the playoffs 17 times.
I can't say the same for Pippen.
Every time he was in Chicago Bull, he was in the playoffs.
On the Bulls, on his whole Bulls career. I cannot say the same for Pippen.
Because Pippen played his last year, you're going to count that last year. Pippen made the playoffs more than Jordan. I mean, like, Craig,
all I can say is Jordan.
You be having some zesty Jeffrey takes.
Jordan made the playoffs on his whole career with the Bulls. I can't say the same for Pippen.
What does that have to do with anything?
I'm just saying.
That means nothing.
One player can win 50 games on the Bulls. That same player couldn't make the playoffs on the Bulls. One player couldn't win 50 games and still made the playoffs.
Jordan couldn't make the playoff in the Bulls in his prime. Scottie Pippen couldn't make the playoff in the Bulls because he was just
in his prime. What?
In his prime.
What prime did Jordan didn't make the playoffs in? When
you talking about? You talking about when the league added 2 teams? That's another help for Jordan.
That was before he even in the league. They decided that. You act like they.
That's what I'm saying. The teams added 2 teams.
He gonna be on a whack team
under 500.
Let's add 2 more teams because we know when Jordan get drafted, his team. Come on now.
Under 500. He went to the Wizards
Silly.
That's not silly. When he went to the Wizards, like Scottie Pippen went to the Bulls, the same results. He couldn't make the playoffs. See, again, your boy quit
like I
because he
said-
couldn't have Scottie Pippen. Because he knew he was not going to make the playoffs without Scottie Pippen. That's why he quit.
And Pippen couldn't make the playoffs.
Pippen
on the
did.
Bulls.
He left the Bulls, made the
same
playoffs.
time.
Left that team, made the
same
playoffs.
time. Jordan left the Bulls, came back and won the
Uh-huh.
championship. Pippen left the Bulls, came back, they missed the playoffs. Come on, they're not the same.
That's not even the same argument,
No,
Craig.
that's not the same.
That is not. See what you be doing?
I'm
You see what
just
you be
saying,
doing?
That's
No,
not
that's
true.
not.
He
Where
came
did I
back.
lie?
He came back and lost to Baby Penny.
Where did I lie?
Exactly, that's true. He did come back and lost the penny. He did lose. But hold on, wait. Let me let Ruddy go because Craig is just trying to step up for the Zesty Jeffries, and it's not going to work
See,
today.
here we go with the Zesty Jeffries.
It is true.
Literally,
You're defending them. You're defending them with this logic.
When did I
Okay.
say anything about Zesty
Okay.
Jeffries? When did I say
No.
anything
Oh,
about
hold on, wait. No, this is why. Because you want to make this about Jordan. That's what makes
Y'all
it zesty.
literally said the Bulls was the only team.
The Bulls.
In the 90s.
You say Jordan, and you keep saying Jordan. Every time we say the Bulls, you try to find a way to make it about Jordan. That is as zesty as a zesty
You
Jeffrey can
literally
get.
Been saying, oh my God.
Think about that, Craig. Listen, we're trying to explain to you the Chicago Bulls was the great team. You keep trying to say it's Michael
No,
Jordan.
I said, no, the whole argument was, my whole argument was this era, you just kept saying there was no dominant team because this era was balanced, it was competition. Meanwhile, the same thing you're saying the Bulls was doing, we had no way come. The Celtics is doing the same thing. The only team that wins 65 plus games in their conference, NBA champion. What is the difference between the 96 Bulls and the 2024 Celtics? But
There was no team. They're not in there. They're not in there. Why we bring up 2024 Celtics? Nobody in this era won 65 games.
Because the whole point is they didn't face. Y'all keep saying they didn't face no competition because they're the only ones that win 65 plus games.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's what my whole argument. So records matter now.
No, you know what? Records don't matter when we do this.
What do you mean records don't matter when you do this?
Because why Michael Jordan didn't beat more teams with a better record than his team like
because
LeBron
he
did?
went to the playoffs more time with a better record. Like,
So the records matter. So that means records don't matter.
what do you mean records don't matter?
Okay, so
why we have
all
an
right.
argument about 65?
Why are we talking about? Okay, why are we talking about
the
the?
graph of 65 win teams?
Because 65 win team is rare. It's rare. 60 win teams isn't. A 65 win team is rare. 21 times in 70 years. That's why. And out of those 65 teams, 60 win 5 win teams, 75% of them win a championship, which you can't say that for no other win bracket. You go to 64, it drops to 33%. If you go to 63 games, it drops less than 30%. If you go to 60 games, it's probably like 15% of teams, and majority of them are probably going to be the 60 Celtics. The point is if the
you know why it dropped when you get 60? Because half of the 5 of Jordan opponents was damn near 60, and they lost, so they added to that negative effect.
And don't listen. If the 1997 Miami Heat, who won 60 games, is better than the 2009 Magics, who won 59 games, then the 72 win Chicago Bulls is better than any team they faced because they won by 10 or 12 more games than any other team they were going up against. The next best team was the Sonics, who won 64 wins. That's an 8 game difference. So there's no comp. That's not comp. That's what we're trying to explain. That's not comp. If you're 8 games better, you have no comp.
He faced weak competition because none of his
He did.
None of the players he faced won 60 games.
No, yes, they did. No, in 2016, again, you guys don't be knowing the numbers. In 2016, let me bring up the numbers again here. All the way, I got to get this out of the way. In 2016, they had faced a 67 win Spurs.
In the finals?
No, they lost them in the play. I mean, they beat them in the playoffs.
Like I said, Steph Curry faced no competition in the finals because none of his teams won 60 plus games in the finals.
In the finals, you could say that. Yeah.
By that logic, he faced
so that means
in the finals.
So LeBron's
opponents won even 60 games.
So you would agree LeBron? So you would agree LeBron did not have no teams to face the Warriors, correct?
What?
That's because the Warriors only faced LeBron.
Well,
so that means
LeBron, like I said from the start, LeBron is the weak competition in the finals. Is by y'all logic.
Of course, they're not as great as these teams. They're definitely not as great as these teams because they didn't win 60-something games, right? How many games did the 2016 Cavaliers win? They won. I think they did win 60 games. Maybe not.
They
But let me let Ruddy Rud get in here because you hogging up the show here, Craig. Shout out to Craig, man. Craig, you the best. I can't wait for Sunday. Hey, Ruddy Hood Sports, thank you for joining me, brother. Thank you for the super chat as well, man. We appreciate you, brother. What you got for me on today's topic?
What's good, y'all? Y'all chilling? Everybody good?
Yeah, we good. Me and Craig was just having a little one-on-one, but it's good. What's good?
Yeah.
What you got for me?
So I just got two things because I wasn't gonna get on. Like I said in the super chat, I believe the best championship season is 2026. It's 2016. Period. Like no argument with me. But we can't say
I don't blame you.
Yeah, that's just me. That's my personal opinion. But we can't sit here and rag on Scottie Pippen as if Scottie Pippen didn't make the playoffs in '94 without Jordan, where he was one of the best, basically a top 5 player in the NBA that season. Like he had a phenomenal season that year. So we can't act like it's like, oh well, he came back and
did they win
and
65 games?
Yeah, I'm just saying they went.
Did they
He
win
made the
60,
playoffs.
that's the whole graph is about the 65 wins.
65
Yeah, no, I understand.
wins.
I was just that was just on that other subject because y'all turned it to a when Michael Jordan went and he missed the playoffs and then Scottie came back and all that other stuff. So, but either way, right? So I just want to say that about Scottie. And then the other thing I wanted to say was the 2016 championship. That whole thing about Draymond Green missing one game means absolutely nothing. It's completely irrelevant. It does not matter because the same year before, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love played a combined total of 1 game, and no one gave that same energy to the Warriors. No one gave that energy. I just heard that earlier. No one gave that energy to the Warriors.
Yes, I did. We always said they only won because Kyrie. Y'all LeBron fans don't accept it because next year when they was healthy, they actually won.
Now good. No, I know Steph Curry said that.
No, they would have won with Kevin Love though. They just needed one of the two. They didn't need Kyrie.
Irving and Kevin Love proved that Golden State wasn't as strong as everybody put out the scene.
Look, I know.
No, LeBron did that because all LeBron would have needed was Kevin Love or Kyrie.
And Love and
that's what I'm saying. All he needed was one of them. He would have been able to beat them with just one of them. He just needed one, not both. He needed one because again, the Warriors got better the next year.
But that's what I'm saying. Here's my thing.
Yeah, but they got way better in 2018. They got Kevin Durant.
Yeah, like you got. I do remember Steph saying like the reason they went out for 73 games because they had to prove that they deserved that championship. So I get that narrative, but we know for a fact that nobody talks about what happened in 2015. They only harp on Andrew Bogut gets injured, Draymond Green got suspended, but Draymond Green played 6 games. Okay, so it's not like we're acting like he missed the entire series. That's not what happened. But either way,
I was around a whole bunch of people, and everybody said Steph. They only won because Kyrie and Love got hurt. I've heard that. Stephen A. even said that if Kevin Love and Kyrie was there, the LeBron would have won in 2015.
So all right. So Craig, you don't agree that this Warrior team is the 3rd greatest team of all time?
No. They got lucky. I'm telling you, Kyrie exposed Steph, yo. Y'all keep thinking, yo. Yeah.
I don't think it was Kyrie. LeBron exposed them. LeBron exposed them. He gave them the blueprint. He told them exactly what we gonna do. But go ahead, buddy. Continue, buddy. Go ahead, brother.
But that's all. I just wanted to say that about that Warriors thing because I heard somebody say that earlier. Like if Draymond Green plays, LeBron doesn't win. If Draymond Green plays, the Cavs still win. This is what people not understand. It doesn't matter if he played or didn't play. They would have won, period. And same thing with Andrew Bogut. But either way, as far as the championship season, like I said, I do believe that the 2016 Cavs had the best championship season because of the team that they beat. The fact that the Warriors broke the Bulls record, won 73 games, and then they were down. And this is a team that had beat the Cavs the previous year, no matter what the circumstances. Going into the finals, being down 3-1 and being able to come back from that shows great team chemistry. They were all locked in. They were being led by the greatest player of all time. And for me, that's just the greatest championship season. And then actually I got Bill Russell up there in second place as far as some of the greatest championship seasons ever because I think he had it, especially with all the racial things that he had to deal with and all the mental hurdles that he had to go through, getting death threats and bricks thrown through his window and all types of things. that happened to him, how he himself in an interview said he dropped 20 points and 20 rebounds, and in the paper, all they said was how lucky Bill Russell is to be with Bob Cousy. It's crazy, like the stuff that Bill Russell had to go through. So that's why I even have him. I moved him a notch up on my top 5 players all time. And then I'll go with the Bulls at number 3 because, you know what I mean? I still got Michael Jordan second all time, but I will go with the Bulls with number 3 just because of even though I don't believe the competition was as strong as the competition today or as strong as competition as others have faced, he did dominate his era in that fashion. You know what I mean? He worked with what he had and he did make it work. So those will be my top 3. I don't know about the rest of the 10, but that's all I had to say, really. Just had to chime in with that.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Ruddy Sports. Y'all make sure to check out Ruddy Hood Sports as he goes live as well.
He wasn't watching the show because he was talking about nothing.
That's what Friday Night Exposure is for people to express themselves. And listen, at the end of the day, the point is that I come up with my own criteria. You guys know what I do. I come up with my own thing. I give up a point system. That way you can understand what I'm talking about. I'm not just saying stuff just to say stuff. But again, I understand people want to have their take, which we have somebody here. I can't say your name because you don't have a name. So it looks like you're the pumpkin robot goat. Thank you for joining the Goat James Kingdom. What do you have for me today, sir?
Oh, no, I put honey on the goat. It's emojis.
That's what it says, honey. Okay, I thought that was a pumpkin thing. I'm sorry. But go ahead, brother. What you got for me today? Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to add, I've been watching the stream. I saw your list. I'm missing, where are all the LeBron James super teams that the narrative is?
He don't have those teams. They don't exist, really.
There was one up there, the 66 and 16 Heat.
Well, no. They are up there. They were up there. They didn't make the top 10 though. That's what he's talking about. They didn't make the top 10. You are correct though. They are there. The 2013 Heat are there, and the 2009 Cavs are there. So go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue.
I would expect 4 LeBron championship teams to be on there since he's written the super teams of championships.
You know he don't play a full season and win 65 plus games. He a player.
He had 3 shortened seasons as well. So, but go ahead. Continue.
Yeah, so it's just strange because even if you look at that list that you did, because I thought it was a good list, especially when you put in the net rating, because that net rating is based on per 100 possessions, so that kind of evens out the pace of the game. So if you're outscoring teams by 11 points per 100 possessions, that's pretty far ahead of the competition. And you got the Celtics on there. And you got the Warriors and both Warriors teams. So LeBron had to play against 3 of those top 10, great teams.
Weak competition.
Yeah. Well, you can call LeBron weak competition, but LeBron's winning championships with those weak rosters.
I'm going by y'all logic. Y'all said you got to play 60 plus win teams in the finals to play tough competition. LeBron never was the tough competition.
No, he won 60 games. Oh, wait, LeBron's won 60 games. You said 65.
No, I'm saying Steph never faced no competition in his finals. All his final wins, even though it was against LeBron because
he was always the better team. Games. Exactly, he was always the better team. Yeah. That's what we always tell y'all. He was always the better team. We keep telling y'all that.
He's the weak competition.
And MJ has 3 of the top 10 teams. Yeah, including the number 1 team. So what does it say about the era he played in?
All I know is that this is Jordan's weak competition. That's weak competition. That's why you can say all you want to. That's weak competition. I think the Lakers won 50 games that year. The Blazers won 50-something games. The Suns won 60 games.
58. The Blazers won 57, and everybody else he faced won 62 plus.
There you go. So there you go. But every one of these Chicago teams had a better record than every one of these teams. So that means the Chicago Bulls were the better team.
Not the Phoenix. They was top. Phoenix had the better record because the Bulls only won 59.
Oh, yeah, that's true. They only won 59. Yeah. That was the one year. That's
because the Bulls were kind of taking it easy on the third championship.
Oh, wait, no. But that was the year the Chicago Bulls had 2 All-NBA players and 3 All-Defensive players on the roster.
And that's the team that was the same Phoenix team that had 3 All-Stars and 3 double-digit points per game scorers and the MVP.
Yeah, but none of that is more than all NBA, all defensive team. None of that means more than that. None of that means more than that.
From what I've been telling, the All-Star is the oldest award in the world, right?
Yeah, but from my understanding, All-Stars don't mean nothing. If that's the case, LeBron definitely faced more tougher teams because he's the only one that faced all those 4 All-Star teams like he faced. At the end of the day, LeBron has faced tougher competition than Jordan. That's just the facts. It's not a, you can call him the weaker comp, but he had to face the tougher comp. And he was still successful.
Yes.
Yeah, and he was still successul. So, but you got any last words there, honey on the goat? I'm gonna let Sturdy in after you, please.
Yeah. As far as like those Warriors teams that LeBron faced, they're really great teams, especially and that 15 team. It does get underrated. And like I do think LeBron, the Cavs would have beat him if Kyrie was healthy. But as far as like a team construction and like having everything you need for a championship team and performing like that 15 Warriors team was like definitely like I think one of the top five. Especially when you think about like they kind of ushered in the modern era of like basketball because they kind of broke that glass ceiling where they kept saying like a jump shooting team will never win a championship. You need like a back to the basket interior big, and that they kind of broke it where you can't win the championship with jump shooting. So they kind of made like history there.
They did from what I did on this right here. They are one of the most underrated teams in NBA history. Obviously, they were a great team, and they just, I guess they got outshadowed because of the Kevin Durant and what happened the next year. So let's let Sturdy get up here. Shout out to you, Sturdy. Thank you for joining me, man. I know you sent me the link on Discord about the playoff percentage. Go ahead and break down what you wanted to break down about playoff percentage, brother.
No, I just salute everybody. Somebody had echo. But I was just saying that the playoffs show factor, in my opinion, for a multitude of factors. Number one is guaranteed. Number one is guaranteed to get the team's best performances. That's number one. Number two, teams are game planning against you, and vice versa. Number three, you're going against the best teams in the league. And number four, it takes out other variables that contribute to wins in the regular season. There are no back-to-backs. You're getting teams' best efforts. You're getting teams' best schemes playing against you. And most importantly, you're getting teams' best execution. Like all those teams that you mentioned, some of those teams have the best playoff record of all time for a reason because they carry that regular season performance to the playoffs. And just how we rank players, we also should rank teams based off not only they did in the regular season, but also how they did in the playoffs. And just like the playoffs, they have stats for net rating, percentages, and that's why that should matter too. Because just as much we've seen teams win 65 games, also seen teams flame out winning those 65 plus games too. So my question to you, Johnny, real quick, before we get into the playoffs part. Are you telling me this year's Celtics didn't qualify? They're not qualified for this list because of one regular season win. When they have an all big first team player on their team, multiple all defensive team players on their team, and one of two teams in NBA history to have both the Finals MVP and the Conference Finals MVP, since you like awards.
Can't count conference finals MVP. They're not that sturdy yet.
No, I'm just asking the question. Like that's my question.
Well, they didn't win 65 games. The criteria is 65.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, and you telling me they didn't make this criteria because of one regular season win?
Yeah, because then you can't say the way it is, you could say the Bulls never faced no competition.
Oh, no. Hold on, wait. Started. No, because okay, first off, the last three teams who won a championship have a Finals MVP, and they all won it. Yeah, Stephen Curry.
No, I said the Finals MVP and the Conference Finals MVP.
Yeah, Stephen Curry, Joker, and won the Conference Finals MVP.
We had one of three teams. My fault. They're the first Eastern Conference team. I apologize.
Okay, yeah, Eastern Conference team. Okay, but now the reason I didn't do 64. I don't know if you heard the beginning of the show. We talked about how let me bring it up here. How out of all the teams that won 65 games or plus, 75% of them are champions. So it's 15 out of the 21 won championships. When you go to 64 teams, it drastically drops to like 33%. So yeah,
I thought it dropped 33% with 63 teams.
No, 64 team. If you take all the teams that won 64 team in NBA history, yeah. See, if it goes to 63, it goes even lower. I'm just talking about 64 teams. I think it's like 30-some teams that won 64 games in NBA history. And it's like only like 10 or 11 of them have won it. Again, I remember doing this research about, that's what made me realize how rare it was to win 65 games. Because it was only 21 teams, and then, like I said, a majority of them won the championship. So that's why I did that. Now, granted, there's some 64-win teams that were great, and there's some 60-win teams that were great. Definitely wouldn't hold it against them. But because, again, the conversation is about what's the greatest championship team of all time, and because most people consider the 96 Bulls to be the greatest team of all time, and it's basically based off of their team record. Like Craig was arguing the whole show, that if team records matter so much, then yeah, we should account for team records. So I made sure that you had to qualify by having 65 games and just be a champion. But from there, I graded you by the amount of MVP, having an MVP or not, the amount of star-studded roster cast, and your dominance, which was net rating. Now, mind you, I can use the net rating for the playoffs. You are correct about that. But the playoff winning percentage, like, I get what you're saying there, right? Because the Lakers played, 16 games? And they were 15-1? Mm-hmm. The 76ers were 12-1, if I'm correct.
Mm-hmm.
Was it 12-1? No, they were 12. They were. So how would that work? What's the difference? They both lost one game, but that's not the same percentage.
You can do the same thing like you did with some of them teams that have the same record for regular season. Go what's the next line of criteria? Net rating. So if one team who still have the same record in terms of losses or the same winning percentage of the playoffs, you can move on to, okay, what's this net rating in the playoffs? With they first in defense, second in defense, and then you go from there.
Yeah. No, but the reason I was saying
that
because
like you did for regular season.
No, net rating, right? No, the net rating, right? So as an example, right, we're gonna go to the 1996 Chicago Bulls. They had the highest net rating overall. So you know with the GOAT James Kingdom formula, the way we do it is if you have the highest, if you're the greatest at a particular category, you get a 10. So everybody was graded towards that. So the Warriors 11.6 was graded towards the Bulls 13.4. So as an example, if we were going to do the percentage, if the 2000 Lakers has the best winning percentage, which I have it here at 94% or 93.8%, right? That would be everybody's grade. Because then if we do the Sixers would have a 92.3%. So I would grade 92.3 to 93.8. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So that's how that.
Lakers.
No. The 2000 Lakers, because the 2000 Lakers won 67 games, so that's why I have them up here.
But they didn't win. They didn't.
Oh no! Oh, you're right. All right, you're right. I'm sorry. You're right, Craig. It's 2001. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Continue. Go ahead. Continue.
My thing is though, right? You count the result of the postseason as a qualifier to the championship, but why not what those teams did in the playoffs? The data is there.
What data are we going to use? You gave me net rating and winning percentage. And what else? And what else?
Rating, offensive rating, and defensive rating, just like you got for regular season.
Well, no, I didn't do rating. I did offensive, having the number one offense or the number one defense, not rating.
Oh, okay, my fault. Do the same thing for ranking. Do the same thing for playoffs. Everything will be there except for the regular season awards.
But we can add the awards. I mean, at the end of the day, every last one of these teams have an MVP because they're all champions. They all have a Finals MVP. So that's hard to grade. That's why I didn't grade that, right? Because they all have Finals MVPs. They all would have conference winning conference MVPs as well. So that's why I included MVP, because if you go to MVP, like I said, some teams have an MVP, some teams don't. Some teams have a Defensive Player of the Year, some teams don't, right? So.
Some teams in the playoffs dominated the competition more than others.
That's true, because if you look at it from this sense, though, right, it's a little bit different, right? Because like here are the Chicago Bulls Finals playoff net rated teams, right? You can see their net ratings are not that great, right? And if you look at what LeBron faced, it's a little bit different. So it does change, because as an example, the Spurs have a 7.6 net rating in the playoffs in 2013. None of the teams Jordan faced had anywhere near that. So what that would be, again, we can do that. We would just have to find the team that have the highest net rated playoff team that they faced, right? Which is more than likely the Chicago Bulls, because they had, what was it? 13. Well, no, they weren't even that high. It would have been the 2017 Warriors, because they have a 13.5 playoff net rating. I think that's the highest.
Yeah, they were 16-1.
The Warriors?
Yeah, 2017 they went 16-1.
Yep, it's in the graphic in the article.
Oh wow! Oh, so they would have the highest one. They would have 94%. Hold on, wait. Let me look it up because you did send it to me. Give me a second here. Let me look that up.
Like they almost went perfect, except for the game 4.
If we're gonna also create the criteria of championship, which is a playoff team award, why not include the journey to that award?
Because I was having trouble trying to figure out how to do it. That's why.
Okay, man. That's why I'm here, Johnny, to help your segment be more sturdy.
Yeah, I got you. Now I've been certified.
Nah, don't do that. Don't do that.
Y'all gotta relax, man. Y'all gotta relax, bro. Listen, I'm married. I got a grandchild. I got 4 kids, bro. I'm not worried about Sturdy, man. Thank you, Sturdy. I appreciate you helping me, brother. Appreciate you. Y'all gotta chill with that stuff, man. Ain't no need to be pausing every day. Every day.
To help progress the conversation, I think, in my opinion, if you factor in both regular season success and playoff success, I think the top 3 teams in terms of greatest would be the 17 Warriors at number 1, 96 Bulls number 2, and then number 3 is between the Lakers of 72 and 83 Sixers. Based on if you could try to do both.
Yeah, but what was the because see, look, their regular season net rating was kind of low, 83. What was their playoff net rating? Do you know?
It should be on the graphic or something.
Yeah, hold on, wait, let me see it. But now, it just the graph you sent me is just for playoff percentage. You didn't give me one for net rating. Because right here, the number 1 team by winning percentage in playoff history, ladies and gentlemen, is the Golden State Warriors of 2017. Then it's the 2001 Lakers. Then it's the 83 Sixers. Then it's the 91 Bulls. Then it's the 89 Pistons. Then it's the 99 San Antonio Spurs. So where would you rank them?
They only play 50 games. Don't rank them.
No, I'm saying we factor in the regular season dominance with the postseason dominance.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Remember though, you had to qualify, so we would have to have qualifying.
If that's the case,
we can't just do every team.
Wins and the playoff wins together, and boom.
That helps too. That you can do that as well. That's true. You can do the overall record as well if you wanted to. If you really wanted to, yeah. Yeah, and okay. Then you have the 82 Lakers, who went 12-2 in the playoffs. Then the 71 Bucks went 12-2, and then the 2024 Boston Celtics, which is the I guess they're tied for 9th, or they're the 9th team. They were 16-3, so they won. They are top 10 in playoff percentage, postseason percentage.
What about the 2001 Lakers that went 15-1?
They were number 2. They were number 2 after the Warriors.
Yeah, it's just they didn't take the regular season serious.
Yeah. So it's the 17 Warriors, 2001 Lakers, 83 Sixers, 91 Bulls, 89 Pistons, 99 Spurs, 82 Lakers, 71 Bucks, 2024 Celtics, and 4 teams are tied at 10th, which they did not list. So that's what Sturdy sent to me here. Appreciate you, Sturdy. I like that. That's good info. Like I said, we got to have info when you want to talk the game of basketball. You can't just be saying stuff just to say stuff.
You know what someone's wicked, though? In 2016, you had the Spurs went 67-15, while the Warriors went 73-9. I could only imagine the rest of the conference. If 2 teams won 65+ games in one conference, you know I gotta be a weak conference. Somebody didn't win 20 games that season.
Well, I do have some information about that. See, that's why I like you, Craig. Craig, you the man. I do have some information about that. Let me go ahead and get that up for y'all while we got a chance. Aaron, you said you had something to say. Go ahead, brothers. You got your chance. Go ahead and speak. You said you wanted to say something.
No. I don't got nothing to say. I got kicked out. Internet
Yeah,
fucked
look.
up, so it kicked me out. So I joined back in.
Okay. All right. So
I'm listening.
you were talking about 20-win teams, right, Craig? Right, teams that can only win 20 games. Well, in NBA history, well, not NBA history, but in the last between the 90s, the 2000s, and the 2010s, I did an actual calculation of teams that won 20 games plus or not. Now, let me see if I can get this to be a little bit bigger so we can all see this. All right, so right here we have the 99 team, right? If you guys look at it here, these are teams that won less than 30 wins in an NBA season. So like in 1990, there were 6 teams that won less than 30 games. 4 of those teams won less than 20 games. In 91, they had no teams lose less than 20 games, but they had 7 teams that lost less than 30. I mean, that won less than 30 games. And if you go down the line, though, if you really look at it, there were 80 teams in the 90 that won less than 30 games. That's the most out of all eras. But 20 of those 80 teams were in the 99 season, which was the shortened season, which was what, 60 games? How many games did they play in 99?
50 something. They started in February.
50
I thought it was
games.
60. I think it was 60 games.
No,
it was 50.
No,
It was.
Was it?
They played.
They
They
started
played.
after the All-Star break, which would be in February. There's no way you're playing 60 games from February to April.
Yeah, they played 50 games.
It was 50 games. Okay, so that's a big difference. If you take those 20 games out that short season, it's really 60 teams in 9 years, right? But the key thing is this: like we always told y'all, if you go to 1998, right? If you look at 1998, 5 teams in 1998 had less than 20 wins. So that's the most out of any 82 game season in this record here, out of any other teams that you see, right? And in reality, the 90s had the most teams that won less than 20 games out of all these teams here. So, and if you take away the shortened season of 2012, you got 14 teams that won less than 20 games in the 2010s. And then in the 2000s, you only had 15 teams, and in the 90s, you had 26 teams. But if you take away the teams that played in the 99 season, you had 16. So again, the 90s
had 30. Then what? The 90s you had 28 teams for half the decade.
Yeah, you didn't have too many. Exactly, that was another thing too. You had less teams as well, which is also a big difference. You had 29 teams as of 96.
So let me ask a question. In the 98 season, how many teams won 50 games in that 98 season? Because somebody has to win if all those teams are losing.
Well, no, that's the thing. In 1997, there was a bunch of teams that won 60 games. And that 98 season, I don't know, but there were a few teams that did win 60 games. I don't know.
Like 50 games. That 50 game mark.
Like 50,
how many
32?
teams got to 50? Because 50 is like a lower bar, so like more teams could like cross it.
Yeah, let's. I mean, we could look that up. That's a great question. Let me look up. We said what year now? 1998.
Yeah, because you said they're like 6 teams or 8 teams that had less than 20 wins. So
the Denver Nuggets, the Vancouver Grizzlies, the Los Angeles Clippers, the Golden State Warriors, the Toronto Raptors all lost less than 20 games that year. And if you count the Dallas Mavericks, they all won less than 20 games, and the Dallas Mavericks won 20 games exactly.
Yeah,
that year.
They was
but
the kid
the Bulls, the Bulls and the Utah Jazz had the best record with 62 games. Then you had the Lakers and the Supersonics had won 61 games. Then you had a few other teams win 50 games. So you had the Heat win 55, the Spurs won 56, the Pacers won 58, the Suns won 56, and the Charlotte Hornets won 51, and the Hawks won 50. So that's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 teams won 50 games, and 10 teams won 50 games or more out of all those teams in '98. While you had like 7 teams that won less than 20 games.
Well, like I said, it's only 82 games.
Well, 16.
Somebody
I'm sorry,
gotta
16.
lose. They don't do ties, and
But that's why the winning record is tough, because it's hard to sit here and tell me.
because there's different amount of teams, so
Yeah,
you might
it's
play a trash team more than usual.
Yeah, that's why I don't like the record. Because here we go. We have
But
this
you just
60.
had a graph about the record. Now you can't
No,
say
no,
you
because
disputing the record.
because because of what's normally spoken in the basketball world. The fact that the Chicago Bulls won 72 games matter. Even in the sense of when we're talking about the 72 Lakers, they were known for being great because why? They had 69 wins. That was a record at the time. They won 33 straight games. You see what I'm saying? All these teams are champion. Again, mind you, but I didn't use it to say which team was better. I just used it to make it a qualification. Basically, I'm saying these 21 teams are better than any other team in NBA history, but I can't really say that because it really doesn't matter because I can't say that the Supersonics of 98 is better than the 2009 Magic. I mean, yeah, the Magic who won 59 games. They're a two-game difference.
Team was better.
That's what you understand what I'm trying to say. But that's why for me, I like the accolades because the accolades tell you how good the player was for that season. So again, when we're looking at it like a team like this, they have 3 all-league players on their roster. When we're talking about this team who have 4 players who made the all-league team, how can they not be a great team? When we're talking about a team like this, like how can they not be great? They got 4. This team had 5 players get selected for honors that year. That's crazy.
But hey Johnny, like the reason why like the playoff record thing matters too is like you have a team like the San Antonio Spurs, right? Who didn't have those amount of individual awards, but you see from their style of play, they were dominant. You know what I'm saying? And that most of those performances or most of those things stand out most in the playoffs. And
Well,
that's why
I like the net rating. I like the net rating over the win percentage because. Like it's hard to, yeah, I get it. You dominated.
They got a net rating for the playoffs too.
No, I know the net. I like the net rating for the playoffs. Like I told you, it does help you understand how good a team played, and that's why I use that as the dominance. Because remember, there was 4 different things I was trying to use for this, and it was the team record, which I used for qualification. It was whether you had a league MVP or not. Because talking to my boy Chilltown, I figured out that like we talked about it on the show, like 15 teams have won a championship with a league MVP in NBA history, right? So that's very rare as well. Obviously, star-studded rosters, like we talking about teams with all-star players.
You said 15 teams won the league MVP, won the championship?
Had a championship with the league MVP, something like that. It's like 15
the same
teams.
Season?
Yeah, in the same season. Yeah, in the same season. In the same season.
Jordan got 6 of those, right?
No, he doesn't. Jordan don't even have 6 MVPs, Craig. You always be jumping.
5 of those.
I think Jordan got 3.
No, he got 4 of those. Look, Craig can't count. Craig can't count.
He got 5. He just didn't win one with 7.
That's shows you how hard it is. Even Michael Jordan couldn't do it with all the MVPs he had. So again, that's was one of the rarities, and like I said, and the dominance. Now the dominance part, like I said, I didn't want it to be vague. That's where I used the net rating. I didn't use the playoff net rating. I used the regular season net rating because it's a bigger number. You got 82 games compared to 15 to 16 games. But we got Hollywood Herm in the building. Shout out to Hollywood Herm. Thank you for joining me here, brother. We're here talking again. I don't know why I'm not live on FYF. I'm supposed to be running live on FYF for some reason. We're not. But go ahead and plug in your show, brother. Thank you for joining me.
Man, salute to you, brother, man. Salute to everybody on the show, man. I honestly, when it comes to the eras, I favoritively always say the weaker eras to me is the 90s and the 2010s. They have actually more similarities than what people realize for us. Why their eras were somewhat off. They both had 21 teams that was below, that was 20 wins or below. When it comes to 60-win teams, the 90s did have more. But when it comes to the competition level in both eras, you basically clear-cut knew who was going to make the finals, who was basically going to be one of the top-tier teams in the league. Now, in this current era now, it's widespread. We don't know what the hell is going to go on for us. Who's going to be the best team. Even though Boss had the best record, people still didn't really believe that the Celtics were the best team in the NBA. But for us in the 2010s, and for us in the 90s, you clear-cut knew most of the time who was going to be playing for the title and who had the opportunity to win the title. Because the competition wasn't really hefty in both of those eras. The best era to me is the 2000s era, which was owned by Shaq, Kobe, and Tim Duncan. Those 3 players ran that era. Those guys was winning the championships throughout those 10 years in that era. And end of the day, the competition wise, hell, you had to win 50 games just to get into the playoffs in the 2000s. You had to win 50 games in the West just to make it to the playoffs. The AFC, think about it. AI Carmelo Anthony was the AFC. They won over 50 games, and they had to go against Tim Duncan and the Spurs one year. Then they had to go against Kobe Bryant and the Lakers the next year. And they won over 50 games. So when I look at it, when we talk about these eras, you gotta be straight across the board. And honestly, even though LeBron and Jordan are the top tier guys of all time, there was favoritism in their prime, at their peak, at their best. Their eras was weak. The 90s and the 2010s, in my opinion.
Damn, you put the 2010s in there. I mean, the 2010s was a weird era, man. It really was a weird
He got an
era.
argument. Hey, Johnny, he got an argument.
It's
He
because
made a good
now
argument. He made a good argument. Go ahead, Craig.
The reason why it's so much suspense now is because teams are unhealthy. There's no healthy team, so that's why it's a surprise. There's no healthy team.
And there's no stable teams too though. There's no stable teams neither. There's no teams that's staying together for a while.
That's a fact too, but it's more talent that's spread out though. Now you're looking at
but
the
if you
era
getting
now.
hurt, if they getting hurt,
Nah, but
where's the
think about
talent?
it.
If they
Nah,
hurt,
but
they're
think-
not playing.
Now, but think about it. The smaller market teams are the teams favoritism winning the title. Milwaukee Bucks with Giannis, Jokic with Denver, Toronto Raptors. Those type of teams are winning now. He wasn't having that.
Kevin Durant was hurt, Toronto would have won or would have lost. If Kyrie was
Andrews always
was
been part of the
healthy,
game.
Milwaukee would have lost.
All right, think
And what
about it.
was the other
Akeem
team you said?
Olajuwon.
What was the
Akeem
other team you said?
Olajuwon. Nah, but
Denver?
I'm into.
If the Lakers was
in
healthy,
in the late
Denver would have
90s,
lost.
no, in the late 90s and 97, Utah Jazz upsetting the Houston Rockets in the conference finals. John Stockton was the best player in that series. Olajuwon was on one damn leg. So Akeem Olajuwon was healthy. Charles Barkley and Clyde Drexler as well. Everybody thought they was going to see the Houston Rockets and Chicago Bulls in the finals in 97. The reason that didn't happen because Olajuwon was hurt. It was horrible. He was playing on one damn leg. So injuries always happen in every era.
Yeah, that's true. Matter of fact, I just found out that the 71 Bucks, the only reason they beat the Lakers that year because they didn't have Elgin Baylor and Jerry West. They beat them 4-1.
They forget they forget about that.
Yeah, man.
Hey, Kareem Ford.
Go ahead, Aaron.
Records to me are kind of tricky too, due to injuries and
That's true, Sturdy.
and low management. Because look at how the 2016 Warriors went 73-9 when they picked up Durant. They didn't have the same record the next year.
But what team this year was hindered because of injury besides the Kawhi Leonard, which we shouldn't even care no more because it's Kawhi Leonard.
Milwaukee Bucks.
Oh, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that was one. The Heat. Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, most definitely.
The Lakers had injuries. Memphis was injured.
Nets.
No, I'm talking about during the playoffs. What Lakers injury? Who Lakers had an injury? Lakers didn't have an injury. AD got hurt.
But Miami was at top.
No, I'm talking about this year. I'm talking about this year. I mean, we had Porzingis. Porzingis got hurt. Porzingis got hurt as well.
Nah, but Miami was at the top of the league for its different lineups, having some of the most had the more different lineups in the league because of injuries. So they was going through the whole season.
We were. Yeah, we were. Going to it.
This is why, if you go down the list, every team that, if everybody play healthy, the teams that make the finals don't make the finals. Always due to injury that a team you don't expect make the finals because the team that you expect, an injury happens.
Sad. Sometimes it happens like that.
In front of you.
Yeah, that's true, and that's the whole point as well. Like Sturdy was saying, the competition wise.
It's unpredictable now because these players are getting hurt.
And just the teams are different. I mean, look how different the Warriors were from just 2 years ago. They were just the champions 2 years ago. The Denver Nuggets were a championship just last year. They're a different team already going into this year. They got Westbrook on their roster. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like the Bucks that won the championship 3 years ago. That's not even the same Bucks team neither. It's like
why? Because
the NBA is shuffling.
It's at the point the NBA is like the championships don't even matter. It's all about the money now. So the team that they conjure up these contracts to make the most money they can. The championship is just it's because I came to do a job and I did it. But it's about the money. That's why these teams-
Players have more say so in their careers now. They're not attached
they're
to a
making
team
more
anymore.
money than they is now.
Yeah, and they're not
That's
attached to a
more
team
sense.
anymore. You're not
If you
attached to a
could
team
go-
anymore.
If you could go to another team and make 200 million, you would. You could do it.
Yeah, that's true, but you still got to go to the team that drafted you. At the end of the day, players don't really care about that. They still control their brand. They still do what they got to do, and a lot of these
Kobe
teams.
came out of high school talking about I'm not playing for no Charlotte.
Nah, that's not true. He was gonna play for them. He was gonna play for anybody who drafted. He was gonna play for the Clippers. What are y'all talking about?
No, he tried out for the Clippers.
He did say he not playing for Charlotte. He did say.
Man, he was gonna play. Kobe was gonna play for Charlotte. Kobe was gonna say, "I'm gonna win a championship with Charlotte." That's what he was gonna say. That's the Kobe mentality. That's the Kobe Mamba mentality.
That's why Charlotte was cursed. Ever since they did that shit to Kobe, let him go to LA.
Nah, that was smart by Jerry West. Jerry West was smart as hell. He was like, "Yo, I'm drafting this dude," and they was like, "Yo, we again." Nobody was thinking no high school kid was gonna change your odds to win no championship in 1997. Who thought that? Nobody. Kevin Garnett was just in the league, and we already know Kevin Garnett lost 4, 5, 6 straight first rounders in his NBA career to start off his career.
He didn't even make the playoffs his first.
Not his first couple of years. I'm saying, but when he started making the playoffs, it was just straight first round duds the whole way through. Again, a lot of those guys were there for development purposes. They were picking up guys like Walter McCarty,
When he first
Jermaine O'Neal,
the playoffs,
Tracy
he went up
McGrady
against the Lakers, the Lakers and the Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Again, at the end of the day, though, when we really think about all these players and how they work today, they're not attached to the teams. That's the facts. Back in the day, if you were like Reggie Miller, synonymous with the Pacers. Patrick Ewing, synonymous with the Knicks. Akeem Olajuwon, synonymous with the yeah. It was odd to see him in other uniforms. It's not like that anymore. We got players like CP3, Harden, even like Shaq. Shaq played what, on 20 teams. Like, you know what I'm saying? Eventually,
I think he's missing 3 teams.
So a lot of these players now are bigger than the franchises that they can be on. Like after a while, Anthony Edwards more than likely has to leave the Timberwolves. He's not going to stay there.
Everybody know he gone. He can't.
Yeah.
If he don't make the finals before his contract is up, he's out.
He's too big of a star. He's too Damian Lillard messed
If he don't
up.
make the finals, if he don't even make a finals appearance before his rookie contract is up, he's out of there.
Well, they were saying that because they're supposed to be having some arbitration between the ownership, because Alex Rodriguez is supposed to purchase the team, but there's like a fight between the owner who doesn't want to let Alex Rodriguez buy the team, so there's like a lawsuit or some kind of legal action. But either way, supposedly, if Alex Rodriguez doesn't win that suit, they're going to lose the front office they have now. And supposedly, if that happens, people were saying that it's for sure Anthony Edwards is leaving Minnesota.
You ain't going to work for new people if you got a chance to bounce it, even play somewhere better too. Like Minnesota, that shit cold right now.
That shit going. Hey, shout out to everybody in the comments. I want to talk about something because I just found out some news right now to why we're not live on FYF, and we got to blame Herm in Africa. Herman, what did you do, and why are we not allowed to go live on FYF Sports Debate?
I'm gonna tell you, we will go back live next week for sure. But Young Africa sat up there. 'Cause I was cooking them so bad. He was playing Olympic clips.
Yeah, I remember
playing
that.
clips for the Olympics, and we not supposed to play any clips for the Olympics. They will freeze your channel. So for any content creators out there, they gonna freeze your channel to playing the Olympic clips. So that's what happened. That's why. That's why they suspended it. And we gonna get it back rolling, man. Just Young Africa was just getting cooked so bad he didn't know what to do. So he played the video. Trying to discredit what I was saying.
Yeah, they are not playing, and I feel bad for us because if NBC also does that for the NBC games that are going to be showing next year, we're going to have some trouble as content creators because they are not playing. Matter of fact, that Rob Parker clip that we've been playing recently got banned as well on YouTube. So I don't know what Rob Parker said or what he has done, but they don't want Rob Parker's face to be on anything when it comes to YouTube as well. So YouTube is kind of striking down on that. We're going to have to figure out something because if NBC is not letting us do the games, that'd be kind of crazy. But they definitely were cracking down on the Olympic. Okay, so that's why we're not live on FYF today, ladies and gentlemen, as FYF has been restricted from going live for the next couple of days. They should be back. Actually, he said we should be good for Sunday's show. So hopefully we can get Sunday's show on FYF this week. That would be great. That would be fun. We will have a great time. But I'm gonna let y'all fellas get some last words in because I had some fun. Anyways, before we do that though, let me give y'all my top 10 team again. Y'all need to see the top 10 teams. We have the Los Angeles Lakers is the number 10 team of this ranking. This is my top 10 greatest championship season teams, and it's based off of their dominance, their star-studded roster, and winning the league MVP. The qualifications was 65 win minimum, and you had to be an NBA champion, which only happened 15 times in NBA history. So out of 76 NBA champions, 15 of them had 65 wins or more. All right, and Los Angeles Lakers are number 10. Then we have the Chicago Bulls of 1997, which were outshadowed by the 96 Bulls, but the 97 Bulls won 69 games, which is a remarkable feat. Top 5 in all-time NBA history. They were one of the most dominant teams as they had a plus 12 net rating. Then we have the '08 Celtics, which also dominated the league in 2008 with their net rating. They had a Defensive Player of the Year, one of the rare teams here that had a Defensive Player of the Year to win a champion. And we all know that the Big Three sparked a lot in the NBA. So much changed after the Big Three came together in Boston in '08, as Kobe ended up getting Paul Gasol. LeBron had to leave Cleveland, and Dwayne Wade needed him to help win championships and get past Boston. And so many things happened afterwards from that time on. Then we have the '83 Sixers, which is probably a true basketball fan's greatest team. I don't think nobody who thinks this team is the greatest is a non-basketball fan. If you're not a basketball fan, you probably don't even know about this team. It's one of the greatest teams ever. Like Sturdy would say, this is the greatest team ever. This team right here, to me, I call them the greatest team ever. I think they're better than as far as accomplishments, not as far as playing against each other skill-wise. We're comparing players to their contemporaries. We're not crossing eras. And then we have the '87 Lakers as the number 16. Then the number 5 team is the '92 Chicago Bulls. Yeah, the Chicago Bulls got 3 teams in this list because the Bulls were that great. Indeed, we have the '71 Bucks because we know Kareem and Oscar Robertson together is a great combination. The most shocking team of all of this right here is the 2015 Warriors. I don't know what to tell y'all. This team was phenomenal. It was just a great team.
Because Kyrie and Love was hurt. That's why.
But hey, I tell you what, if it wasn't for LeBron, LeBron would literally shut down all of this. I don't know what the Warriors would have did if they wouldn't have won the 2 championships that they did in 2015. That's been crazy.
If Cleveland would have won 15, they would have won back to back.
They would have. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And then would Kevin Durant still have gone to the Warriors? Because we know in 2017, Kevin Durant went to the Warriors, and this is what we call the greatest team of all time. We don't think anybody here think anybody can beat this team? Anybody? Anybody at all? Anybody? Nobody?
Yes.
Who could beat them, Sturdy? Who?
I think KD would have went to Miami.
The 01 Lakers. The 01 Lakers have a great chance.
The 01 Lakers?
What?
1,000%.
Oh my God. Shaq would be in foul trouble.
Oh yeah, Shaq would have killed.
Shaq would be in foul trouble. And then we have, obviously, we all know the 1996 Chicago Bulls team, 72-win team, the most wins for a championship team, the greatest net rating for a championship team as far as regular season. They had the number 1 offense. They had 3 all-league players. They had 2 all-NBA first team, 3 all-defensive first team players. They had the MVP, the scoring champ, the rebounding champ, the 6th man of the year, the coach of the year. They had everything that year. The 1996 was all cooking the books for the Bulls, and that's why they are considered the top team of all time here. So we're gonna get our last words in here. Craig, you got any last words for me, brother?
I did, but then you went to that whole thing
I'm
about
sorry.
the
I'm
Bulls, and let me go back, go to everyone. Let me see if I can remember.
No, buddy, go ahead, buddy. If you can remember, go ahead, buddy. You got anything for me, buddy?
Yeah, like I definitely did get to the stream late. That's why when I read the subject, I didn't get your criteria for the best teams and stuff like that. I didn't get the criteria, so I was just going off the head, which I thought was like, you know what I mean? Basically, for me, the top 3 best championship seasons, like I said, like the '96 Bulls, the 2016 Cavs, stuff like that, and probably any of Bill Russell's championship seasons. But either way, and the other thing too is that I don't know why Herm compared the weakness of the '90s to the weakness of the 2010s. I think the 2010s had way better teams than the
You
'90s.
don't know what the hell. I
The
know what Texas
2017
is.
Warriors, the 2016 Warriors, the 2015
You're gonna
Warriors,
get a chance to respond, Herm. Give it a
the
second. Go
the
ahead. Go ahead.
All right.
Finish, ready.
the 2014 Spurs, the 2011 uh, Mavericks, and then of course the Miami Heat, LeBron's Miami Heat teams. Like, I don't I think that competition greatly overshadows any of the competition going on in the '90s. But other than that, man, for the part of the show that I did catch, good show, man, and that's about it
Appreciate
for
it.
me.
Nah, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Go ahead, Herm. Respond to what he said about your
Well,
take.
for one, brother. And today we knew the 20 chance was dominated by Stephen Curry and LeBron James. Those two basically primarily dominated the 2010. But end of the day, they both had the same equal amount of 20 win teams or less. They equaled that. When it comes to 60 win teams, the 90s got them. And the only reason a lot of people relatively always go to the point of the 90s being weak because of the dominance of the Bulls. Like if that's the case, then you gotta say that the '60s was weak because how the Celtics dominated the '60s. They won 8 straight damn titles. It doesn't mean that the era was weak. It just was that damn good of a team. The Bulls were just a great team, man. And a lot of GMs didn't know how to put a team together to come back what the Bulls had going. I thought the Orlando Magic had something great going, but it was a mental thing that held the Orlando Magic back. But when it comes to the 2010s and the 90s, I'm saying they weak because they got more similarities than what people realize. If you compare a lot of things, the net ratings and all that, you would kind of understand what I'm saying when you look at the statistics, when you break down every little thing. If you value if you value certain different things, you would lean towards probably the 2010s, and vice versa. They both got a lot of weaknesses for us in their eras. The best era of basketball to me is the 2000s. For 2000 2010, if you're a pure basketball person, that's the best era in NBA history because they got a combination of every era within that one decade alone. They got everything. You want the 80s, they got that. You want the 90s, they got that. You want the 2010s, they got that in that era as well. That's why that era was so special. And a lot of people don't really. That's why LeBron James, it was phenomenal of how he did make it to the finals in 2007. That was a tough era, man. For him to get through it and make it to the finals of 2007, that
Spoken like
that
a spoken like a
man,
true Kobe fan. Spoken like a true Kobe
I'm
fan.
not a Kobe guy though.
Now, listen, it is an argument to be held about those eras. I think the 90s was the weakest era. I think the 2000s had the best defensive era. I think the toughest era was the 60s, but I still think the best era was the 80s as far as entertaining wise and what was available for us to watch and stuff like that. I think the 80s was great. Yeah, I think the 80s was great, man. The 80s had some great basketball.
You got a great point. You got a great point.
Tank delay, 2 NBA games per week.
So imagine exactly. Take delay. I ain't see none of the bad stuff. I saw all the good stuff. I never saw Buddy doing a little booger sugar on the side of the court. None of that. They cut all that out to make sure you watch the game.
That's where halftime came from. That's what they did halftime.
Exactly. That's when you got the little sideline reporter. So you didn't see what the players were doing. They were opening up 6-packs on the sideline. They were opening up 6-packs.
They needed a half a halftime.
let's let Honey the Goat in. Go ahead, Honey. Get your last word take in. Honey the Goat. Honey the Goat. That's a funny name. Go ahead, brother.
Hey, for the 2000s era, like watching like the early 2000s, like that was like the era of like the first team to 85 wins. If you ever seen the 2004 Eastern Conference Finals with the Pacers and the Pistons, like that was the bottoming out of like modern basketball or the end of like old era basketball. It was like the worst series ever played. Like it was literally teams are struggling to get to 80 in that series. And
it was bad. The 2000s was kind of bad. Yeah.
And one more thing about your list, all I know is 3 of the top 10 are MJ Bulls teams, and LeBron played against 3 of the top 10. And 2 of those 3, he had to play without even another All-Star on his team in 2008 and 2015.
Oh, I remember.
It was just LeBron with no other like All-Stars to play against. Who's
or
the
top
top 10
70,
I
on your
got
list?
one now. I
or
remember
top
what I was
75
gonna say.
teammate, or top 75 teammate.
Oh, you got it, Craig. You ready? Land it here so we can let Craig come in. Craig is ready. Y'all done stirred it
I'm
up.
glad he said
Boom.
I
that
can't
three of the
believe you
top
disrespected the
Bulls
truth
Wait,
teams.
are you
after
going in
four.
order? Or?
I'm glad he said three of the teams had Jordan on the Bulls and three of the teams LeBron faced. So let's go. This is the fun fact. All of Jordan finals opponents have the same record as all of LeBron lost finals. They both have the same exact record. So all of y'all that say that Jordan faced weak competition, just know that weak competition won the same amount of games in the finals as your GOAT and his
Yeah.
losses.
That
So
exactly. So that means
what's that
LeBron
even
James had
mean?
no super. That means LeBron James had no super teams. That means LeBron had no super teams. That's what it tells you right there. LeBron had no super teams. He was taking weak teams to the finals and winning it. That's a.
I didn't say win. I said 6 losses. He had the same amount of wins in his losses as the Bulls' opponents in their final
Well,
runs.
I tell you what,
So
I know 64 win teams. I don't know how many of them actually made the finals and lost. LeBron James teams are somewhere in there. I'm quite sure some of LeBron teams are in there.
LeBron got 60 win teams that even make the finals.
That's true. He got a 66 win. Yeah, he got a 66 win team that didn't make the
Yeah,
finals.
with
That's
his second
true.
best player was Mo Williams.
Yeah, that's true. That
That
is
says
true.
something about the competition. Then, if your best player is
So-
Mo Williams and you still want to win in 66 games,
Yeah, that tells you how good LeBron was in 2009.
That's what that tells you about the 2000s. That's what I'm telling you. The 2000s.
use that
That's the
same logic for
2000s.
Jordan. Then that's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna use the same logic for Jordan.
Where was Jordan's 50-win seasons without without the other All-Star, or the 60-win seasons without the other All-Star on the team, without
None.
the stat team?
It's
Mo
nowhere.
Williams was an All-Star when they won that 60 games.
I
that
mean,
season.
Big Z was an all-star too, though. So that's
Not even that year.
Jordan 50 win seasons and 60 win season without Scottie Pippen is where Friday Night Exposure is on FYF. It's not there. So, oh my God. I can't believe it. I can't believe you and Africa messed up everything for my Friday night. I was so ready to put Brandon Katz in the dugout. I was so ready to have Gilbert Arenas comment down. I ain't gonna have no fun. Matter of fact, before I let you in, Sturdy, I was even gonna bring up this right here because we were talking about the greatest teams, right? Do y'all know about the ESPN greatest team? Let me see if I can find it. Hold on, where's the ESPN? Here it is, the ESPN greatest teams. Right here, ladies and gentlemen. Let me fix my. I don't think I can fix it. Yeah, well, I can fix it. Here we go. All right, so these are the obviously we all know the guys that are always in the GOAT conversation besides Kobe Bryant, right? And who they faced as far as the ESPN top 50 greatest teams of all time. And obviously you can see Wilt Chamberlain and LeBron faced the most teams out of this. Obviously, Bill Russell faced none. Bill Russell faced only one team out of all that. So Bill Russell was winning championship versus nobody. as far as ESPN's concerned. But Michael Jordan faced some teams. Say they got some teams here Michael Jordan faced. He faced more teams than Magic and Bird. So what do y'all think of this list? Let's start with you, Craig. Are you there? I got Craig mute. I'm muted. Go ahead, Craig. Are you there? You go. You gotta unmute yourself. There you go.
I'm on my phone, so it's delay. I click mute and start talking, then it goes mute again. So.
But what do you think? What do you think of this?
Episode about this.
Oh, we did, right? Yeah, I think we did have an episode about this. Again, the GOAT has to face some tough competition. They go to all those 2000 teams.
Like
you were talking about that
he's
suck.
a weak competition. How many times I gotta tell you that?
Yeah, because he fucking drafted in Cleveland. What about you, Ruddy Sports? What do you think of this?
What was Chicago before Jordan got there?
Oh, they were making the playoffs. They had Bobby Love. They had
make the playoffs the following
year
before.
Not before that, but they were in the playoffs in the early '80s. They were in the playoffs in '83, I think. Against
Cleveland, it ain't my fault. Cleveland
I think in 1983 they faced the 70s. They faced the 76ers in '83. They were in the playoffs that year. They were one of the worst teams, but they were in the playoffs.
It's not my fault. You had an incompetent owner in the '80s who was just selling his draft picks for nothing.
That was horrible NBA basketball, to be honest with you. But
you said that's the best era. That's what I'm looking.
No, it was. I mean, to be honest with you, the 2020s. Once this era is done, this is going to be the best era ever. When we're done with the 2020s, y'all going to look back and say, "Man, this was great basketball. We had a great time watching this whole everything from starting from when Rudy Gobert touched the mic."
when you hear people say who did LeBron face in the finals when somebody else is coming up, and you gotta go through everything I say about Jordan. Well, who did LeBron face? They're gonna be a team that win
All we
80
gonna
games.
say, oh
And they
my
be like, who
God.
did he face? He didn't face nobody.
Oh, imagine
He
if
faced
No,
Le-
that's a
podcasters
question,
and
man.
Call of Duty players.
yeah, all
Hey,
right,
we
all
gotta
right.
let Sturdy go. We gotta let Sturdy.
No, I know we're gonna get started. Ready, answer that question right quick so I can let Sturdy go. We can get up out of here. Go
You
ahead.
talking about as far as the graphic of who had the toughest competition?
Yeah, ESPN, as far as the ESPN graph, yeah, that was ESPN's top 50 list. I just went and found all the teams and who they played.
I mean,
That's kind of a decent list of players and
it
of
honestly,
teams.
it should not be a question, man. Like when we look at NBA history, it shouldn't be a question of who faced the toughest competition. That's obviously LeBron James, and that's unbiased. Not this ain't the LeBron fan of me or nothing. Like that is, I could hate that man, and I would still have that same assessment, man. He faced the toughest competition from the Spurs to the Warriors. Like let's
Mm-hmm.
yeah, let's tell the truth.
It's the GOAT, man. He's the
We
GOAT.
got
Yes,
He's
like
the
you
come
GOAT.
are.
on.
You when you face the tough competition, you are the weak competition. You have to have tough competition when
That's
you
You
deal
fine.
with
can't
the
be the
weak
weak
That's
competition.
fine.
competition if you in the finals
That's
every year,
fine.
giving yourself a
That's
chance to
fine.
compete for a title. How are
That's
you weak
fine.
competition?
We can be
That don't make
the
sense.
weaker competition and show out and win championships. 30, go ahead and land this
Yeah,
for me right quick, and then I'm gonna let Paul and Aaron come in last.
I can win championships too if I don't got to play a full 82 game season.
Go ahead and land this for me right quick, Sturdy, with the most objective take, since you're not a LeBron fan, a Kobe fan, or a Jordan fan. Go ahead, brother.
Well, however you measure your criteria, try to be objective and fair. Um, I'm gonna shake it up a little bit this time. Awards do not dictate who's better. Do the research on your own. And this is new. Stop letting these old heads lie to y'all, dog. Jerry West is a point guard. Man played 10 years as a point guard. He's a point guard. Stop letting these niggas lie to you. And of course, John Stockton not top five point guard. That's pretty much it, man.
So
Don't
where would you
disrespect
put Jerry
Stockton like
West?
that. Don't
Yeah, where would you put
disrespect
Jerry West as a point guard then? Because he's got to
Above
be up
Stockton.
there. Because I don't know how many. What do you average? 27 points per game, right? No, 20.
No threes
25. 25 points per game. I think he averaged for his career. Or close to
with no
27.
threes.
I think it was close to 27. I don't know any point guard that averaged that high. I think he's the highest scoring point guard in NBA history. When you really think about it.
Maybe him and Oscar.
Now I know Oscar's average.
Probably him.
Oscar's 25.
Probably
Oscar's
him.
25. Yeah. So,
Probably
but yeah,
him.
that's good. All right, Aaron. Any last words, brother? Are you there?
No, just great show, bro, and everybody had great takes, man. You know, I just I say thank you. I'm looking for
Wait
the
to
young
Sunday.
Salute to you, brother. Salute to you.
Oh yeah, wait for
What up,
Sunday's
Dad?
show. We about to have some fun on Sunday's show. We about to have
Hell
some
yeah, let's
serious fun.
go. Let's go.
Yeah, man.
Mad to everybody, bro.
Hopefully Herman's suspension got lifted by Sunday so we can have a show.
Hey, tell you gotta tell Africa, man, stop running from the smoke, man. You gotta tell Africa.
Africa
can't
loves
panic like
starting
that,
smoke. He loves starting the smoke and then disappear, go back and go in the hideout. It's crazy behind. Then go hide in East Africa. He starts some smoking and go hide in East Africa. Shout out to young Africa, man. That dude's the man too as well, man. Shout out to him. Herm, any last words?
Hey, great show, brother. Keep up the good work, man. Shout out to everybody that keeps supporting FYF and especially supporting Go James Kingdom. Great content creator, man. Got great points, even though I don't agree with all the points, but I can see his side. I can see his way of thinking. So that lets you know if a guy can get you to see his side, his way of thinking, and when you don't agree with them, that lets you know he's doing a hell of a job of doing a lot of research. So man, y'all support Go James Kingdom. Man, y'all hit them cash outs, man. Y'all donate, show love because it takes a lot of hard work
Thanks.
to be a content creator, man. So salute
They
to you,
do.
brother, man. Great show.
Appreciate that. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Y'all make sure to check out Herm when he's off his suspension.
I'm gonna have to ask Sturdy from now on.
I can't wait.
Make Africa do that no more.
I can't wait till Lamont has to make a group chat because of stuff like this and then have a discussion with all of us content creators about what we do on FYF. Paul, you join back on the panel, brother. You get the last word. What you got for me, man, before we get up out of here? Are you there, Paul?
Oh yeah, I mean LeBron James is the GOAT. He faced the toughest competition ever, especially in the NBA Finals. You know, the Spurs, the Warriors. You know, Michael Jordan never faced them. Okay, he never faced any 65 plus win team that LeBron James did. So yes, LeBron James is the greatest basketball player of all time.
Good job. Good job.
He
Thank you
just did
again.
it. He just did what Jeffrey did by talking about why LeBron is
Craig,
GOAT because
have
what
you
Jordan
still
didn't do.
have
So
you
what?
found out a name for us yet? Have you found out a name
Yo,
for us
I
yet?
will have one by Sunday. I will have one
You
by
better
Sunday.
have one.
I
We
got the name.
got, and we got to talk before Sunday, so make sure you reach out to me, all right?
Yeah, all right, I got
So
you.
I'm gonna let y'all go, man. I appreciate you, Craig. Thanks, Craig. Thanks so much, there, Goat the Honey. Appreciate you, Herm. You the man, brother. I appreciate you. I'll see you around, brother. I'm definitely gonna come. Damn. So we're not gonna have a. You should have a show tomorrow, man. We got to come holler at you tomorrow. And Paul, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Thank you for joining me again. You guys have all been great. Yes, tonight's show, ladies and gentlemen, has been wonderful. It has been a great show as we've been able to talk about the teams that have basically won the most games in NBA history as far as in a season, and also win the NBA championship. So if we go down the line, I can show you right now, this is the team that is the number 10 team on my list. That's the 72 Los Angeles Lakers. Then we have the 97 Bulls as the number 9 team. Then we have the 2008 Boston Celtics as the 8th ranked team on my top 10 greatest championship team seasons. Then we also have the number 7th team, which is basically the 1983 Sixers. This team was phenomenal to me. This is one of my favorite teams of all time. I love the idea of what they were able to do. Obviously, you guys know I'm a big time Dr. J fan. He was great for the league, and this team is definitely one of the greatest teams to ever play the game. They had one good run, and it was good enough to put them in the top 10. Then we have the 87 Lakers, which we all know Magic took reign of the Lakers and basically had one of the best seasons of all time. They won 65 games. So the 87 Lakers make the 6th team. To start the top 5, the 92 Bulls. Again, the 92 Bulls were a great team. They were just coming off of a championship in 1991. They won 67 games. Scottie Pippen was at his peak. Michael Jordan was at his peak. The Bulls were a very dominant team. They were able to win a championship. Then we have the 71 Bucks. This is one of those odd teams that came up and won a championship. A lot of the teams in the 70s were odd teams that won a championship. There were no repeat champions in the 70s. Every year was a different team that won a championship, and only 2 teams during that year was able to win multiple championships, which were the Celtics and the Knicks. But other than that, the whole 70s era was a parody of champions, but one of the greater champions was the 71 Bucks. Then we have the shocker of all, like I told y'all, the 2015 Warriors, which ESPN had them ranked as the number 16 all-time team of all time. I have them ranked as the number 3 team here with the criteria that I put up, because again, they won 67 games, they were very dominant, and they won the NBA championship. Then we have the 2017 Warriors as the 2nd team, and obviously the number 1 team of all time is the Chicago Bulls of 1996. So as you can see, the Chicago Bulls were a great team. Michael Jordan was a part of one of the greatest teams that ever existed in NBA history, and that's how come he was able to win a lot of championships, especially in the 90s. Yes, it'll be nice to see you this week. Ishmael will have a great show. Again, you can join us this Sunday afternoon on the GOAT James Kingdom platform, as we will have a special topic, and we will be debuting on FYF Sports Debate. We will have our first show on there, and we will be talking about our GOAT criteria. So you guys make sure to check out us. We are the GOAT James Kingdom channel. I'm Ajani the Exposer. We go live every Sunday noon to talk about the GOAT conversation. Become a member of the channel, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Like I told you, when you become a member of the channel, there's different perks for you. We take care of our members. You can ask different members that we have. We always do what we do best. Become a member of the channel. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been a great Friday night exposure with the Exposer. We were not allowed to go live on FYF due to Herm and Young Africa, because they out here wilding on Lamont's platform, and they out here getting Lamont in trouble, and now Friday Night Exposure has to be actually on tape delay. But we'll get that corrected, ladies and gentlemen. But again, it's been another great episode on the Friday Night Exposure with the Exposer. I'm Ajani the Exposer. You have now been exposed by the Exposer. And as I said, we go live every Sunday noon Eastern time to talk the GOAT conversation in basketball. We also go live every Friday night right here on the GOAT James Kingdom platform, also on FYF. You guys can also follow us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, We are all over the place. We are the greatest place to talk the game of basketball. No one talks the game of basketball like us. We do it like none other. And if you support us, we'll support you and continue to do what we do best. But ladies and gentlemen, it has been another great Friday night. I'm going to let you guys go. Enjoy your Friday night. Peace and blessings. If you're a basketball fan and you're tired of basketball shows that talk about fake narratives and using non-basketball terms like killer instinct, playoff translation, gravity, come to GOAT James Kingdom.